No, we're definitely not on.
All right, we're finally on. That was fucking hard work, man. I don't know what was going on
As
there.
always.
I don't know what was going on there. How are we going? We're on there. Is everyone? If people are on, can you just let me know? Again, this is the same every week, right? I've got to let people know if they can hear us, if they can see us, and say hi. So, I think they can. Can you see us?
I can see us.
All right.
I think we're
doing
good.
good here, man.
I can see us.
Yeah, nah, that you'll always see, but here we go, wait. Well, why is there I hate ads. You're trying to watch YouTube, but maybe not because I haven't got premium.
Mate, I pay $24 a month just so I don't have to deal with that.
It's very annoying.
Can I tell you why? I'll tell you what happened that made me flip. I was trying to sleep once and I had a YouTube video and it was just rain sounds, and then all of a sudden an ad popped up for Continental tyres of all things.
I copped that. I'm watching something and then like the game, you know, the ones with the shooting game comes up and you watch it, then you hear and you go, oh, what's going on here? So everyone welcome. All right, everyone welcome to Unfiltered.
Rocco?
How are you, mate? We've got a very special guest today.
Hello.
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 Nadia. How are you? So Nadia's,
very well, thank you.
Yes, Nadia's a good friend of ours. First of all, Nadia's not only a good friend of ours, but she's also the organiser of our live stage shows. So
How exciting.
You organised all that? Yeah. Very good.
Pretty much.
I'm telling you now, without Nadia, we're doing nothing. We're doing. I'm telling you, we're doing nothing, man. So
Look, I still have flashbacks.
From the stuff we got to go through sometimes, man, just to get that show going, man. But lucky for Nadia, but she's also a good friend, and it's got a lot to say.
Do you have a lot to say?
Right, we do have a lot to say, yeah. So today should be a big day.
I'll tell you what, it is a big day.
It is
a big day.
And everyone watching, it's actually the great man himself. It's his birthday.
It is my birthday.
21?
21 today.
21 years old.
21 today.
Happy birthday, my friend.
Thank you, my friend.
Everybody in the chat, drop a like. Wish Rocco a happy birthday.
I'd say everyone, my birthday wish is everyone just like the show, right? Just like, share, and subscribe. That's all you got to do. I ask every week, man. I'm telling you, it's not that hard. People these days can't even be bothered just touching the like button. Put the dislike. I don't care.
Just do something.
Mate. Do something. Yeah. So it's definitely my birthday.
How you feeling, mate?
Yeah, like, I don't know, man. Like, the older you get, like, the birthdays don't mean as much anymore. They're just like birthdays, you know. I think it's more important to everyone else around you. Mm-hmm. So, but... yeah, no, I feel good. Like, it's all good, man. It's just another day.
You've just come back from holidays.
And then, like, I'm still depressed from coming back from holidays, you know what I mean? So, but no, it's good. It's been a good day. I still have to work today.
It's all right.
Work doesn't stop, so still have to come to work. And, what do we got here?
There we go.
Oh, we
happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to Rocco. Happy birthday to you.
Happy
Hooray!
Hooray!
One more.
Hooray!
Hooray!
You always know the dominant. You always know the dominant person, the person who says hip hip.
Hip hip.
And it was you.
Well done.
Thank you to the beautiful assistants. Babe, can you close the door, please?
You got to blow the candles out, mate.
Cleo, get outside. Cleo, go and see the girls. Go and see the girls. Yeah, we will.
Got to blow the candles out, mate. Make a wish.
Make a wish, Rob.
All right, I've made the wish.
Hey, I hope you're wishing what I want you to wish.
Oh, yeah.
You got to wish that, mate.
No,
now everyone knows.
I'm scared. I'm not even going to ask.
There we go. Well done.
All right.
Well done, Rob.
Where's your drink?
My drink. Babe.
We're very organised here on Unfiltered, as you can
Andy's
see.
glass. You were supposed to get Andy's glass.
While Rocco
The other
is
glass.
sorting the glass out,
What's that?
I'm saying while you're sorting the glass out.
No. I've got the workers, mate.
Nice,
Oh,
nice.
Got the
Got
little
the
minions.
assistants. So thanks everyone. No, it's going to be a bit of fun. We're going to have fun today. Thanks everyone thank you very much. And you brought a bottle of champagne.
I did.
Nice.
Do you want me to crack it? Or?
Do you know how to crack it?
Listen, it's your birthday. I do know how to crack
Is this an thing, is it?
Oh, is that how we're going to start?
It's starting.
I'm already sweating.
Here we go.
It's funny how and not Nadia. I think Nadia is very, very well-rounded person, but
Yeah, I know. I definitely know how to crack
No,
a
you're
champagne
very
bottle.
well. Trust me, all the work we've done to get stuff done. But I'm just saying, it's funny how everyone wants to be equal and that, and then soon as the thing's got to get cracked or the tires got to get changed,
that was-
all of a sudden, hand it over. Or, you got to go to war. Off you go.
Here we go. That
It's going to be a good night tonight, letting you know.
That was simply
soon
because
as
it was
there's-
your birthday.
Yeah,
It wasn't like a masculine,
No,
feminine,
it's not a masculine thing.
gender role thing.
No, it's not a mass. But if there's like a mass murderer come in, right, it's like, you want to go and check? Yeah, all right.
All right, you can go first. For sure.
Nah, it's good. I love it. All right, let's have some champagne. As you can see, Nadia's already started. So it will be a good
Because you didn't.
Yeah, no, I need to.
Nah, don't top me up. I'm good.
You don't like it?
No, I'm not a
But I'm going to top you up. Aren't you?
No,
Where's your scotch?
I'm a Scotch. You know me. I love my Hennessy.
Yeah. But, you know what? I used to not really drink a lot of this stuff.
Until time.
And then I got a girlfriend who loves it, so it ends up. So cheers, everyone.
Cheers, Rock.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, my friend. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to have some cake or we're going to wait?
Maybe wait.
Wait a bit. We've got 2 cakes there. All right, beautiful. So say hi. First of all, Malcolm. He's in there. Hey, Rocco. Peter. Bobblehead, blue bag always. Hey, I'm Andre. And then you've got, that's it. Then you got Chicho Dan. Hey, Chicho Dan, first of all, was one of the winners of the book last week. And then he wrote me a message, right? Mm-hmm. And he said, thanks for the book, but I want to buy my own.
What a legend.
Can you give the book to someone else, right?
Oh, nice.
What an absolute champion.
Yeah, so he's a champion. So what we're going to do is we're going to give away the book to someone else. If you haven't read the book, you've got to read the book. Everyone get onto it. Saigon, Siren. It's an amazing story. I keep saying it.
Bought mine the other day.
Did you? Mm-hmm. I'm telling you now, not because he's my friend, right? But it is one of the most well-written book of, is that proper English? It is well-written,
yes.
One of the most well-written books I've read. Like, it's just, I can't believe how well it is. It's so well-written. It's amazingly, it took him 12 years to get that right.
Wow.
12 years, well, not every day 12 years, from start to finish 12 years, but
A work in progress.
it's just, I can't believe. Like when he first started, he said that he joined like a book club and that, where then you go in there, and the first time he wrote and he went in there, like it wasn't really. They said, nah, it's not really good. You know what I mean? And then it took him ages to learn how to write his style, and then one day it clicked.
How to express himself.
And then he just knew how to write it, you know what I mean? And I suppose that's a lesson to everyone, that if you just keep on going and keep on going and keep on going with whatever you want to do, eventually it clicks.
Yeah.
Eventually it clicks, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, eventually it clicks, yeah. So we got Petra Khan. Evening all, happy birthday, thank you very much. Petra Khan's always got something interesting to say on the comments. Yeah,
Good opinions, yeah.
So, and that's it.
So we're giving a book away tonight.
So we're going to give a book away. So we'll give one near the end, and we'll just see, just give us a good comment. I'm sure there's going to be plenty to talk about.
For sure.
And that's it. So everyone's been all right.
Sounds good.
How are we going? So tell me, Nadia, a bit about yourself.
A bit about myself. Okay. I studied social sciences.
Yes.
Sociology was my major.
Yes.
So basically, study of society.
Very interesting.
Which brings us to tonight.
We've had a lot of talks about this. Yeah.
In the last 15 years, I've worked in women's health.
Yes.
For Curves. So predominantly with middle-aged women, working in well-being, which I'm really passionate about.
Yes.
Health promotion.
And then you do the event.
And then, obviously I do the events as a
organising on a bit of fun on the side.
It's supposed to be a side hustle, but I'm not quite sure that it's a side hustle.
I think it's is it? But you do a lot of work, but it is kind of a side hustle.
Yeah.
It's not your main thing, but you do love it. You now pick and choose what you want to do.
I definitely pick and choose.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said that was your passion. What made helping women your passion? What was the click in your head? And how long ago? Was there an event? Was there multiple events?
I think the studies, and then I think there's a real gap in the ageing population and middle-aged women. Like the government's done an inquiry the last 12 months into perimenopause and menopause, which is definitely well overdue. There's a lot of women suffering in that stage in life and not even understanding what they're going through. So I think it is time that we get educated and educate the community and even men in what women are experiencing to better
100%.
support them and enhance relationships as well.
Well, most men don't know what's going on, like with women. Like we just don't understand. We've never been educated really from it, especially like my era. Like we've got our roles, you know what I mean? You don't really get involved. I think it's just recently that we're getting more involved with it. So you definitely think like the government and that don't do enough to like...
No way.
What's the inquiry doing?
The inquiry is looking into just that stage in a woman's life, so perimenopause and menopause. We also know that these days, it's not uncommon to experience symptoms in your 30s. So that was something that was...
That early?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, a lot of women in their 30s would be experiencing things that may very well be perimenopause, but they wouldn't put it down to that. We also know now that if you experience postnatal depression, you're more likely to experience depression in menopause. And a lot of women are being prescribed, say, antidepressants, where it's actually been induced by the hormone changes. So it's not necessarily a chemical thing. So there needs to be a lot more understanding in this area so we can better treat it, I think.
How does it... You got to make us understand, how does that affect you? Like what you've just described, and if it's happening as early as 30, how does it affect...
What sort of symptoms?
Yeah, like what's it doing
to you?
Could be
emotional, lack of sleep, weight gain.
Yeah.
Yeah, all those things could lead to an increase in cortisol, which is your stress hormone, that deposits around the midsection. And I think we're still very focused on the metrics, like the scale and the number, how much you weigh and things like that. We need to shift from that. It needs to be like a lot of education in just doing strength training and exercising and the benefits that come from that, strengthening inside out rather than focusing on the other stuff.
But you say like, like with the weight, and we should be focusing away from that, yeah? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, well, I think if you focus on habits.
Yes, habits definitely lead to...
Yeah, lead to everything
lifestyle.
else. I think a middle-aged woman can, because it's common to obviously, you lose muscle mass after the age of 30.
Yeah.
So unless you're proactive in keeping that muscle high, your metabolism slows, you're likely to put on weight, and there's that vicious cycle. So women...
Same with men.
Same with men,
it's harder with
men naturally have more muscle, but it is the same, definitely the same.
Do you think we've got a problem now with this weight thing, right? So now it's become very, very trendy. Like if you're overweight, like as a woman, now they, like everyone can be who they want to be. You know what I mean? It's fine, you're big. But to me, what they're doing with showing this unhealthy state that some people think it's okay, I think it's a problem in society. Like there are a lot of women who are like completely overweight, and it's no good for your health. Let's be reasonable. Now there's
it's costing our health system a lot of money.
Yeah. So, but there's no like, right, you know, like I'm not saying you got to be skinny or whatever. What I'm saying is there's some overly weight people who are now making it trendy, and it's okay to be like that big. I'm going to put it just bluntly, and it's not. It's an unhealthy state. You can't be that big. You cannot be. Am I saying this right? You can't be that big, not active, and say that it's okay, it's my body, I do whatever you want. I think it's sending the wrong message out there.
Well, I think it's ultimately their choice. If they're choosing to be a larger person and they're happy with that, then that's...
Don't you reckon, like this social media, there's certain women that go out there and flaunt it, right? And there's certain like artists that do it, you know what I mean? And it's fine. It's your choice. You do whatever you want to do. But being that big is no good for anybody, and it should not be promoted. Like,
shouldn't be glorified.
That's the word.
But this is where I think government and other organisations need to do more in the education, and I guess that's a lot of the work I do in health promotion.
Yeah.
Is educating in that, you know, exercising regularly, keeping your mental health in check, all those things that lead to better outcomes. Obviously, if you follow those practices, you're less likely to be overweight. You're more likely to feel empowered, to have better relationships, better self-esteem, all those things. But if someone's choosing to be overweight, then, you know, ultimately...
But don't glorify, you know what I mean? Like, seriously, being overweight for anyone, like, to me, in the past, if you look at old photos, right, have a look at old photos from the footy, from anywhere, there's not many overweight people. Now, it's hard to find someone who's not overweight in these sort of... There's definitely been a shift, right, in dietary, and I think government's part of it, like just getting foods these days. It's cheaper to go and get Macca's than to go and eat like a salad, right?
I think also in that area we need a lot of education. It's very confusing. You get onto Instagram or any social media platform, you're fed so many different things.
Yeah.
That I think consumers and people are very confused. Fad diets and all that sort of stuff. So again, we need to be, giving the community that education.
Yeah,
just keep it simple.
Yeah, and I agree, and I think that's a big issue in the communication and letting people know. But I think that, for example, like for when it, like COVID and that, for example, everyone was going about the COVID and all that. No one ever talked about, like, seriously, a lot of people that died and got sick they had health problems, right? They were overweight. You know what I mean? No one ever said, like, you know what we need to do? Right? We need to get out there. We need to exercise a lot more. We need to be a healthier group of people. No one said that. All they were doing was trying to pump these drugs into us, right? Telling us this misinformation, as our new president says, the fake news, you know what I mean? And I just think, like, I don't know.
But that's true, even just to build your immunity. Why didn't we focus on that?
Why didn't we?
Why would you
know, one of the big things was to go outside and get vitamin C. Helped with helping the virus. But no one said that. They actually try to keep us inside.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No one ever said that. Like, if you look, I think there was a study, if you look at people that, like, live in, like, a sunny place, like, a vitamin C is a big thing. Vitamin D, you're correct, you know, and you need the sunlight, yeah? And now with the way society is with computers and social media, not many people go outside and they're lacking that vitamin D, you know? And they look at these societies where people are spending a lot of time outside, and they have not got a deficiency in vitamin D, you know what I mean?
I think in Melbourne, I think Victoria's got one of the lowest vitamin D rates in the general public, in the world. Yeah, we're one of the worst like almost, I think it was like 1 in 2 people, more than 1 in 2 people have a deficiency in vitamin D.
Wow.
It's crazy.
And then that affects the absorption of other nutrients.
Of course.
So that's where like the big problem is.
I want to go on what you said, how people like kind of glorify, right? So I think, I don't know how you feel about this, right? But we're talking about women. I think young women are the most impressionable and the most like kind of susceptible to being sucked into like the internet, right?
Yeah.
Men are too, don't get me wrong. Young
100%.
boys definitely are, and I'm sure we'll get into that as the night goes on. But you got people like Kim Kardashian. Now for her kind of poison is, let's tell these young girls they're not pretty enough, unless they do A, B, C to their bodies. You need this makeup, you need that, and then you got the whole makeup industry which is telling you you're probably not pretty enough unless you use our products.
Of course.
You know what I mean? And so you've got multiple generations of young women who've grown up, in for decades now, and they've had children and their children have had children, where it's kind of, they've had this kind of bullying. It's almost bullying, right? It's like paid bullying instead of paid promotion, where you're not good enough unless you use our product or you look a certain way. It used to be you had to look like a supermodel, whereas now, if you're skinny, that's almost a bad thing, right? And you can't be too big either, because and it's just, we've taken out being normal. Like being normal now is like just not good enough. It doesn't cut it anymore.
Even being an individual, I have a 9-year-old and a 13-year-old daughter, and even just the age difference between them, there's been a rapid change in I think the way they're growing up. But definitely.
Does it worry you? Their consumption of marketing?
Yeah, that'll lead us into the banning social media.
I really want to get into that.
I really want to get into that
because I feel strongly about that.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Right? I feel very strongly. But
I think, again, more needs to be done in the education from, parents really need to be there for their children and be educating, and every child's an individual. So there's not going to be...
But how much can you do? Like as a mother or as a parent, right? You can say and try to do as much as you can, right? But the pressures of kids these days, going to school and being a certain way, and that it's hard.
It's definitely hard. I'm not going to say it's not, but you need to invest time every day, and it's just quality time. You don't need to be on about this 24/7, but my thing is at night when they go to sleep, we debrief and I try and plant the seed. It'll be things like one night I might talk about friendships. Friendships should make you feel good. Talk about self-love. So I always choose different topics, but we need to be proactive at home. It can't just be what's happening at school.
Is it hard, but for parents?
Life
is hard.
That'll lead us into abortion.
Well, we can lead into abortion too. But isn't that so hard for parents these days? You know what I mean? Life is hard now. To raise a family.
I think having children is definitely
it's
a
tougher.
big commitment you shouldn't take lightly.
Massive. And you've got no more time, and now just with the living, how expensive it is, right? People are working so much, and then you're giving up that most precious thing, which is time. With your family, with your partner, with your kids, you know what I mean? You're giving it up, but you've got no, in a way, you
have to.
You've got no choice sometimes. You've got to go to work, you know what I mean? And then it's funny, I've heard this before where, our kids go, Dad never spent any time with me, you know what I mean? And, it affected me because he was spending 14 hours a day trying to feed you. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm sure he didn't. I'm sure he wanted to spend time, but he had to do stuff, you know what I mean? So that balancing act is...
But I think this is part of society's problem. I think we had, very clear roles. Traditionally, we all knew our place within society. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing where we're at. But it's
It is a
definitely...
bad thing. I'm going to say it is a bad thing. I think we're heading towards a bad thing.
Well, yeah, we're not in a good state, no. I don't think, but our roles were definitely clearly defined.
100%.
Whereas these days, you're really on your own. You need to establish under your own roof the way your family's going to operate, and the way you're going to find balance in order to do that.
I think balance, that's the word.
The balance.
Balance is everything.
And that is definitely difficult.
Yeah.
It is difficult, and don't get me wrong, like, I'm 21 now, so it was only...
That's amazing. That makes me like...
Yeah, it was only
10.
21 years ago, and it's already getting greys, man. It's starting to shimmy so early in my life. But in my days, there was defined roles. Now, was that perfect? No. There was issues with that too, you know what I mean? So it's definitely we've got to work towards trying to get it right, you know? But, I don't know, those roles were there, you know, like the man had his role, female had his role, the kids had their role. Now it seems to be all jumbled. I think everyone's just confused. I think a lot of people are confused. We don't know where we're at.
I think a lot of it is cultural, right? Like, I know being Middle Eastern, traditionally, man goes to work, woman stays home, raises the kids, right?
Yep.
That's traditional.
That's tradition.
Sorry, guys.
That's almost not sustainable in the current climate.
It's not, but I think it's amazing that women have the opportunity to be in the workforce, obviously.
Yep.
So you can no longer run a household, you know, if both of you are working. I see like a lot of women juggling all their traditional roles as well as being in the workforce.
Yeah.
You know, and the man, definitely still being the provider. And it depends the stage in life too. Like if you have young children, it's more likely that the woman will be reduced to hours in the workforce. So she might take on more of that role. So I think that changes throughout what stage you are in life. But traditionally, I guess women were just home raising the family, and roles were really defined.
And look, there was issues with that too. Like, don't get me wrong, it wasn't perfect then, you know what I mean? Like, there was issues the way... Yeah, there was issues. I'm sure the women had a hard time too those days there, because when I think my mum had a hard time raising up kids and being a wife to my dad.
Have a voice. Like I feel they would have just
definitely no
suffered.
voice. And you know another thing, I remember like when I was young, my uncle was the only person I ever knew who had a divorce. Was the only person. It was like a massive thing. It was huge. Giovanna got divorced. You know, now it's a very common thing. You know what I mean? So,
I think what we're talking about has a lot to do with the high divorce rates, because the family unit relationships are under a lot of pressure because they're lacking that balance. You know, women aren't feeling supported, and the men, you know, in some ways I think are unsupported as well.
I think
they're also unsupported.
Yeah, unsupported as well.
I think you said the word before. There's a lot of confusion.
There is,
right? So it's like my natural urge is to be that provider and want a woman to stay at home and to do all that. So when that doesn't happen, it's almost like the guy's like, well,
they don't feel validated.
There's a little.
Where's my role? Where do
I fit in?
Where do I fit in?
Because hang on a sec, because I'm working too.
Yeah.
But she's working too. She's doing a lot of the housework or whatever. And this goes back to a topic we were talking about a few weeks ago, with how much do you help out and what do you do?
I don't know if it's just that. I think men probably need to be able to provide more emotional support than they did in previous times. I think that's where the missing link is.
More emotional support.
Emotional support to the woman.
We need more programs like this. Like no, it's true. It's the communication.
It's the communication.
And then you might be right? That we don't give the emotional support. I think I do.
I'm not speaking.
I think a lot. I think you're right. I think a lot of men don't. But it's not their fault in a way.
Not at all.
They don't know
think
how.
it is.
I was just about to say.
Yeah.
It's conditioning. Like we've all been conditioned within society.
Yeah, I'll give you another example, right? You know, my man never said happy birthday to me. Never said I loved you. but I've seen him cry. You know what I mean? I don't think he knew how to do it. I think he was like, how do I do it? Like, how do I say it? I'm embarrassed to say it.
Men of that era were raised not to...
Well, I think it's a bit like that too now. I think we're getting better. But if you speak to a lot of men, for them to like absolutely like say what they're feeling, or maybe say I love you, or kiss their son,
100%.
you know what I mean? Like they don't know what to do. Like, and it's very foreign to them. So we've got our own issues, you know what I mean? And what you said before is so true. It's in our DNA to do what we do. Like, to look after our family.
Yeah, it's a masculine characteristic.
It's in there, man. Like, and then what people are asking us to do now is just let that go.
Well, that's exactly right. So it's centuries, probably more, of this is how things are, and now it's probably been 50 years since women were able to fully vote, to just be equals.
Have more of a voice.
Yeah, right? To be complete, like, equals. Enter the workforce en masse and all that. So, like, it's almost like
it's not
centuries of trauma, almost, of this DNA that's built in us.
That's what we do.
And we're being taught to just unlearn.
We've got to do it real quick.
But I don't think, I think we still need to have masculine and feminine characteristics within a relationship. Yep. And this is part of the problem, that I think women are entering the masculine space a lot. And then that disempowers the man.
100%.
So I think that's when we go back to the balance. That's part of the problem. So I think we still need to hold on to our gender roles and our characteristics that we should have.
Two things on that. So I went through a divorce last year, and I hit the dating scene quite quickly, and
you're killing it.
I was on fire, right?
Cheers!
He's a killer.
I was on fire, right? But I met so many women, and there were so many different each one of them had a different idea of what they wanted, right? And that's completely cool. As a man, it's like, what do they actually want? Like, because I know the type of man I am. And it was like, there were some girls who were just like, I don't want to do anything. You take full control. You do A, B, C. I'm happy to sit at home and do the rest. Then he had other girls who were like...
do you want that?
Personally, no.
No.
Personally, if we're getting into what I want personally, I love a girl who's able to get her own, life, who's able to manage her own life.
100%.
Right? And all I want to be is that addition. I want to add to her life.
That's
right?
Beautiful.
And vice versa. Like,
of course,
I love where my life's at, and I want a partner, and thankfully I think I found one who adds to my life. Doesn't take anything away. Doesn't strip anything away from me. We're just helping each other kind of grow, right? And I think that's all I wanted. But man, hitting the dating scene and seeing so many girls who were like, I don't want a man that tells me what to do. I like you're just literally there because I want the company or whatever, and that's cool. You can have that. But there are so many
even those
different
words, they're concerning words.
Of course they are.
When they speak like that.
One thing I learnt is that none of us really know what we want to the point where we can verbalize it. It's not something you can actually verbalize and just put on an app and just say, this is exactly what I want, because you can say that and then have that and be like, actually no, I don't think I want that. Like, a lot of girls don't want a strong masculine guy. They want to be they're in that masculine kind of thing, and they want a guy that they can kind of, I don't want to say walk over, but kind of call the shots with.
No,
right?
100%, man. There's plenty.
So I think, it was
that's I think they're unhealthy attachments. Usually when someone behaves like that, there's either past traumas or there's something there that's leading them to that sort of behavior.
Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe. But it's also
I think it's
you
always
would
deeper.
want
It's always deep. It's always deeper than what
100%.
Than what we think. You know what I mean? It has to go deeper than
I just found it really confusing. At the start, I wasn't looking for anything serious, and what I was doing was just kind of taking it in. I haven't dated in so long that I wanted to really take in how everything was at the moment, and it was so different to how, like many years before. And I feel like there's just so much confusion between both genders, both sexes. We're just, everyone's confused, like of what they actually want, you know, and yeah, there aren't many.
Maybe because there is so much choice that.
Well, absolutely.
So that leads back to what I was saying before. I think under each roof, if we're talking about the family or individual, it's really about doing that inward work where you work out what it is and how you fit in within society, what you want out of the relationship. Because what's the norm anymore?
Well, no, there is no norm.
There is no more.
And that's not a bad thing.
No,
that's not a bad thing.
It's just that. It's working through the confusion and maybe actually taking time for yourself to establish how it is that you want things.
Which is exactly why my preference was to always have someone who could do things on her own, who could, you know, has managed her own life, and all I'm doing is just adding to it. You know, I didn't want someone that I'm going to come in, I'm going to have to, like, you know, build this person up, and then another list, she's another name on that list of disappointment, you know, 6 months later, like, that's dating, you know, that's how dating is,
of course, you got to go.
And it's like, but man, there's so many people, not just like, I've got a lot of girl mates, and they tell me their experiences, and
and they have their own
guys
problems.
Like guys are cooked. Do you know what I mean? Like the way guys treat women is cooked.
Well, do you think that the whole dating scene, because I went through a little bit too when I got divorced, you know, so the whole dating scene is weird because for the man, right, like now with this swiping left, swiping right, man, it's different. Like we used to, when I used to go out, I'm sure we're all the same, it was hard work, mate. Used to go out to a club or go out somewhere, and then you had to have the nerve to go up to a girl and then speak to them, and then, you know, like that personal communication. Now it's like, yeah, we'll meet up here, and they're all lying because all their photos are bullshit anyway. No, but all those kind of things, and I think that's
also part of this generation's problem. The communication aspect.
100%.
Like,
so we kind of like anything, like bands, like anything. When a good relationship came out or a good band came out, there was a lot of work behind that. Now it doesn't seem there's that work. It's so easy, you know what I mean? Everyone's for the women, like, and then what's happening is we're swiping and no one's saying hello to us. Yeah. Right? Very rare. The women are getting the opposite.
Every single guy's just...
They're getting everyone. So what they're doing is they're trying to sort out who are the genuine guys. So they're having their own issues. This social, like, I don't know.
It's tough because there's never been more competition out there for women and men.
Yeah.
Right? Like, man, it's a crazy, like...
Is it all, no, but I reckon the competition's always been there.
I think it's just more accessible now.
Not in your face.
It's more accessible.
Because now...
It's easier now.
Because what was the competition back then? You're out at a club
That's what I mean.
with your missus, and there's going to be guys coming up to her, but you're there, right?
Yeah.
So who's going to come up to her, right? Now, you got these sly dogs in the back, in their inbox on Facebook and Instagram.
But also going out. I remember, as I said, used to go out. It was a whole, you used to have to get dressed up, you know what I mean? And then you go out to the club and then maybe you do some moves on the dance floor. Then you do the eye contact. And then I'm telling you, you know what builds character?
Getting rejected.
Getting rejected. Going up to a girl and getting rejected. That builds character, man. And
you know what?
Stirring you.
Never thought about that.
Huh?
I've never thought about that.
It's hard, man. For a bloke and for a woman, you've got your own issues. I'm sure maybe you could tell me what was your experience. But for our experience, is to come up to you and go, how you doing? You know, like, what do you say? Like, it's because there's many ways, you know. Maybe you get an eye contact, and then maybe they're on the dance floor, and you try to go in there and try to do some moves, you know what I mean? You know how like, the hit you get when you get rejected.
I'll tell you what.
Women can hurt.
Yeah.
A bloke
the worst
really
you can say is no. Absolutely
I'm telling you.
The thing, so like for me,
but to build character for the next one, you know what I mean? You started
like confidence.
The confidence,
absolutely.
Of course, you know what I mean?
Like,
and then you started like building your own, like
there's like a tactic.
Well, there's not only
you gotta, you know,
that didn't work.
You know, you could come up with a game plan. You know?
Well, it's true.
You do, absolutely. It's hard work.
Yeah, it was hard work. Now it seems to be a lot easier. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's good for the young.
Because now you're just laying in bed. and you just
nah.
And it's also about like it's the first thing is like visual, especially on the apps now. It's visual, and a lot of the photos it's live. There's filters everywhere.
Yeah,
like,
I know. And who puts up a bad photo?
Exactly.
It's so bad. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you one. Right, I did one. Like I swiped. We started talking. You know, it's good. We'll meet somewhere. We meet at the bloody, I think it was at the Ritz or something, and I was, fucking, this is the best, man. How good am I, you know? So I get there, and listen, it was not the person in the photo. It was not the person in the photo.
Like, actually not the person?
No, it was, but it's a lie.
Yeah.
It was a lie.
So you still did it?
What?
You still went through with it?
No, I went through we had drinks and all that, but I was like, I was upset already at the lie, you know what I mean? Like, if I went there and I knew exactly what I was, then you go there knowing that's what it is. But when you go there and you expect one thing, and then you get another thing, you're already starting on a bloody lie, man. It was really bad. And it, you know, like, we ended up, like, after an hour or two, you know, just, like, leaving, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then what do you say? And so that's a lie. It's like, it was, I don't know, I think these days, it's hurting the younger people, way the dating.
My experience of dating was fantastic. I had so much fun, honestly. Like,
no, but that was just one. It wasn't bad.
Are you talking about this year?
This last
year.
The last when
it was pretty much last year and like started this year. I had so much fun with it, like, because I knew what my intentions were, and I wasn't going around just to sleep with women. I didn't care about that, to be honest. For me, it was just about getting out there, meeting people, right? And like trying to work out what I want, right? And it ended up, instead of trying to find out what I want, I was realizing what I didn't want, right? That's like.
Were you really conscious of this?
Yeah, I went into it.
Do you think that's unique?
I don't know.
There's a lot of people.
I don't know, and I've never really thought about it, because for me, it was like, man, I don't want to like. My next relationship for me was going to be long term, right? And I said that to myself. And I thought I'd approach this thing being emotionally available. So I was open to anything.
What were you like before that part? Like, when you're saying that, like, you're going, I'm going to go in like this and that. So what happened before that for you to turn and go?
I know, was there a realization?
I was just in a relationship with someone, fantastic girl. I'll never say a bad word about her. Fantastic girl. Just was not for me.
Yep.
Right? We weren't for each other. Right? I was far from perfect, you know. And,
you had your own.
When you reflect, was that from the get-go or developed?
I mean, we were different. We were different from the get-go, and we kind of looked past a lot of things. And then as you get older, and like, you know, you start to be kind of set in your ways almost, or you kind of get comfortable in your ways. You just realise, man, this is a roommate. Like, it's not even, you know, it's not a missus anymore. It's just a roommate at this point.
Just quickly?
I think there's a lot of relationships like that.
Yeah, and
living in autopilot.
Yeah, that's like exactly.
Well, I've always said it's the easiest thing to do in relationship, business, work, life is do nothing.
Yeah.
The easiest thing is to just do nothing.
Yeah.
Just keep living. Don't have to worry about anything. The hardest thing is to make a change. You know.
Yep.
In your relationship, right? You were saying that you're in this autopilot and that. Right? Do you think that you don't work on it? Do you think people then, that's what happens, you know what I mean? Like, you get into this thing and you don't work towards, like, because there's certain things that you have to do to keep the relationship going. I mean, it's not perfect.
It's hard work, yeah.
It's hard work.
Yeah.
Like, there's certain things you got to do. Like, one of those things was, like what you said before, is be emotional. Like, ask the question, you know what I mean? Like, maybe talk.
Be vulnerable.
Talk to the person. A lot of people don't talk. Like, a lot of people talk, but they don't talk.
Yeah, they don't speak.
And there's a difference. And a lot of people,
they're running a business.
I said this, I think I said this the other day.
They're running a business.
Yeah.
A lot of people are listening, but they're not listening.
They're not hearing.
I agree with that.
They're not hearing. That might be a better way to say it. They're listening, but they're not hearing what's being said. You know what I mean? So
yeah, for me, and like with that relationship, I don't think it's weird. It's like,
how long was the relationship?
10 years, maybe, something like that.
All up?
It was probably around 10 years. It was like, it got to the point where my heart just wasn't in it, and my heart wasn't in it for a long time, right?
Yeah.
And you start to play games with yourself. You start to say, listen, man, you're just going through something.
Yeah.
You know, you've done time with this person. You got to stick it out.
Done time.
But like, you know what I mean? There's you know what I mean? Like, there's time there. You know, like,
No, you're right.
like there's time there. Yeah, you've invested that time.
It's like when you watch a shit video and
I
then
think
you've
we've all
invested.
felt like we've done time at some stage.
You ever seen a TikTok and you invest like 30 seconds and you go, now I've got to watch it all.
Yeah.
Even though
you don't
it's
even
shit.
care. Yeah, so like, it was like, all right, we've done all this time. I just want to like surely this like, it's just a phase maybe. And then I started realizing this isn't what I want. I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. Like, and that's what kept replaying in my head. Can I do this for the rest of my life? I don't want to do it for the next week.
Let alone
the rest of my life. And it was one of the hardest decisions that I ever had to make. I had to have that conversation with her. And do you know what? It was messy, like, you know, as they all are. But man, like, you know, however many, a year and a bit on, I've never been more like relieved and happier in my life. And you know what? I still talk to her very rarely. It's like a friend. We're still on good terms. I'll love her forever. It's just, we're just not meant for each other, you know? So that's why when I was approaching the dating scene, I was like, I really need to be available, right? And I had to...
And aware.
Yeah.
Aware.
Oh, you've got to be super aware, right? Of what you attract, you know? And
but people change too. You know, like...
You have to.
In a 10-year relationship, what you were at the start, midway, absolutely. A quarter of a way through, you're not.
Absolutely.
You're not the same
Especially,
people.
I feel like when we were young, we were real young when we got together. So, like, you know, we were early 20s and then, you know, in our 30s, it was like...
You can grow together, it depends.
You can grow together.
So we didn't.
Yeah, grow and support each other, or you're on separate paths.
As long as you're on the same wavelength,
we were on completely different pages, right, with everything.
Not supportive of each other.
Absolutely not. And you know, I'll hold my hand up. I definitely didn't make life easier for her. Like, you know, I made multiple bad decisions, and I wasn't the best, absolutely, and I'll cop that. That's why when I was ready to kind of hit the dating scene again, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to be, you know, I'm going to be open to everything. I'm going to really listen to women's experiences as well, because all you hear really is from your mates. You know, man, you know, this girl did this girl did that, but
it's their perspective.
They don't tell you what they did first, and you know, like, so just to, you know, be one-on-one with, you know, a few people.
Women.
Yeah, it was nice to kind of hear different perspectives. And like I said, I went in trying to work out what I wanted. In the end, I was building a list of what I didn't want, which was
that's interesting. I like the way you said that. I like the way.
So
that's good.
And it was real weird, because when I met my current partner, it was like, okay, this girl's really different, and I didn't want to rush straight into it because I had just been through that. So I had to really like look inward and be like, am I ready? Firstly, am I just liking this person because she ticks boxes? Is it for the right reasons? I didn't want her to invest her time in something that if I was like, you know, what if I changed my mind in 3 months? I really wanted to do the work on myself. And you know, seeing these other girls before I met her kind of had me in good stead, because I was like, I think I'm good. I'm in a good space, you know.
So,
you grew. You definitely grew.
Oh man, it teaches you some of
but
the biggest
not everyone
lessons
does that work.
Yeah.
Often you'll hear the, you know, same mistakes being made over and over.
100%. People just keep making the
they
same
lack
mistake.
that, the looking inwardly, and I think they'll often.
Could I just say a few highs before we continue on?
Go for it.
Go on.
Robert Galicchio says hello, and Dan Chicho was born in 84, and remember, we were talking about the fitness and the norm. The ads were great, trying to keep everyone fit. We got our favourite Greek, Matula. She's on there. She says hi, so Matula's our favourite Greek. Who else have we got here? We got Sam.
Uncle Sam.
That's Uncle Sam.
Uncle Sam. There you go, mate.
Communication, he says. And then we got cricket shots. He says,
Who's she married for?
Who she'd marry for? I don't know. Who are we talking about? Your ex?
My ex went for Richmond.
I think he's talking about.
She was a dirty Richmond supporter.
Yeah, that's tough.
My current one goes for Richmond, but
oh my god,
but she's a Carlton member now.
Oh, that's nice.
She's signed up.
Yeah.
She signed up, so we got her on side.
No, that's good. That's good. So hi to everyone, and there's like 30 people watching, so that's pretty good. Can we push the like button? What are we doing?
Yeah, hit the like button.
Well, let's push the like button. No, that's it. That's interesting. What about from your perspective?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
what do you want to know?
Well, just like what he was saying about like the relationships, like just how do you see it from inside, like a woman inside the marriage? Like, what does it, like, as much as like we're trying to say like what we got to do, what's a woman got to do?
But that's, I think, what I was trying to say before, that
like, is there specific, like, there's certain things that we need to do and we've got to train ourselves to do it. What about women?
I think being more emotionally available, and also reducing the pressure of, I think you're always going to have those masculine characteristics, but maybe stepping outside of just thinking of yourselves as the provider and thinking of it more as a team effort.
As the man?
Yeah.
But what about as a woman? Like, what do you got to do? Like, I
think these days.
I
love telling us what we got to do.
Yeah, but there's certain things that, like, seriously, like, maybe there's some things that women have to also, like, bend over a little bit. Like, we got to get our emotional side right, but we still got to be masculine, and we still got to provide, and I've still got to kill the bloke that comes inside, right? I still got to do that, but what's the woman got to do?
Well, I think the other aspect of that is that when we, if the woman has stopped to have children and isn't in the workforce, I think definitely take on those home duty roles. I see, sometimes that being a bit of an issue amongst friends. I think if the man is out working and you're at home, then definitely take care of the cooking, the cleaning, all those roles.
So is there a little bit like...
I think even that area's a little bit muddy.
And when, like, I'm going to say that, if the woman's at home, I'm going to say woman, if the other person is at home, like, I don't know these days, but if the other person's at home, seriously, fucking clean the house.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be rude, you know what I mean? If I'm working...
Yeah, I agree.
The other person has to do it. But in saying that, right?
But that's essentially a job. Like, you're taking care of...
And to keep it going, to keep this relationship going, like, we've got... At the end of the day, you can assign whatever roles you want on each other. But we've got to get this done somehow, right? I don't care who does it. So if I'm there doing that, like, do that. But in saying that, like, I'll come home, right? And I'll wash the dishes. I've said I like washing the dishes.
Yeah, same. I love it too.
We're dishwashers. We
like it. Beautiful.
I love
Chuck the music on?
Yeah, I'm telling you. I don't like putting in the dishwasher. I like sitting there and watching.
I think the bottom line is working as a team.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. And establishing what works for you under your roof. Because there aren't defined roles. I think having communication under your own roof, taking into account your personalities, all those things. And maybe
communication, that word.
Personalities, you've got to take all that into consideration. And maybe speaking, if it is a traditional man or whether it isn't, speaking to them, trying to get them in that state where they're able to truly express how they're feeling about what validates them as a man. I think that's the
other thing I was going to say. Is there a role for a woman to validate for a man? Because we're insecure too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think you need to...
So you have to do certain things that...
Well, it comes down to that
to validate as a man, you know what I mean? Like,
but sometimes nothing...
Do you pretend not to open up the jar and then give us the jar so we can open it and feel like...
that's what you need to do.
No, but what I'm saying, like that... Is there like... Do we need to feel like a man sometimes? I don't know how else to say it. Like,
I think as a man, every now and again...
You need to feel like a man.
You need to feel like... useful.
Yes, that's
I think it's
I think that's part of the masculine.
Yeah.
Is feeling like, you know, you are the protector. You know,
yeah, it's in our DNA.
That, yeah.
Most men, I don't say all of them, have got that in them. Like they will protect, they will provide. They should.
The protect part for me is a fucking non-negotiable.
No, I agree.
Sorry. It's a non-negotiable.
I agree.
Like,
I agree.
man, there are some men out there who they're not very they're not switched on. You know, like they're not ready to go. I think
but that's when the woman steps into the masculine as well.
And
because
well, isn't like then you're taking away something from the man.
But what if the man never had it? There are some men who never have that.
No, they haven't got that.
Or they step down because the woman ends up taking control. They kind of just step down, go to work, come home, and they're not in that space.
Do you remember that guy I told you about last week?
Yeah, overbearing.
When I was 15 at the shopping centre, I saw that guy.
Oh yeah.
That's a guy.
Yeah, did you hear that story?
Who has lost his soul.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Where that masculine energy wasn't there. And maybe that's what I saw.
Yeah,
now
and
that
you
we're
can't
talking
do
about
that. I think men need to maintain that, and women should maintain their feminine as well.
I think so. I think we're saying that's a pervy thing, you know. Like,
but it's not, because it's balanced.
It's not. It's not.
It's trying to
They're
find
gender roles. We're talking about gender roles.
See,
not necessarily talking male female. If you want to go down that path.
No, we are.
We're talking gender roles, right?
There's only two genders.
Different.
You heard that here on Unfiltered.
There's 74, but we're talking gender.
There's not 74.
74.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Like, so it's like balance, because you got, again, I'm only talking from the male experience. It's very easy for a man to feel or to overstep, maybe, right? Of whether like this is how it is and this is how it's going to be. You know, that kind of masculine, my word is the final word, right? Because I feel like maybe for some men, that's like the natural course of things.
Well, us older people.
But that's not what I'm talking about, masculine. That's just
I know,
controlling.
but this is what I mean. It's like a confusing.
Yeah.
So,
because we were brought up like that.
Yeah, like we were
brought up like that.
What my dad
that's how
said.
My dad was.
Yeah, like what my dad said. Kind of. That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's how we were brought up. So, what are we supposed to do? Like, how do we know any better?
I didn't know any better until I got into a relationship.
Yeah.
When I was like calling the shots, and I was like, hey, that's not normal.
Yeah.
What do you mean it's not normal?
I did that at the start.
All right, so like modern parenting, you want to, mimic those behaviours within your household and teach your daughters and your sons the importance of the communication. Speak about gender roles. I think all those things are spoken about quite a bit these days.
Yeah, definitely. There's
but I think they're spoken about in confusing ways though, because all men are told is what not to do. No one ever tells a man what to do, and and that's where like these kind of false prophet role models for men, like an Andrew Tate. They come out and he's funny, he says a few cool things, but his general messaging is cooked, right?
Yeah.
But these young guys don't have anyone to look up to, because
what about
you're just told at every corner that what you're doing is wrong. Okay, well then offer me a new way to do things. They're not offering you a new way to do. They're telling you that being masculine is wrong.
It's not wrong.
But these are the lessons that we're taught, because you're told that that's toxic. Now I don't believe in toxic masculinity. I said this before. I believe that there's toxic people. I think there's toxic people, and I think people can be toxic and bad people. I don't think masculinity in itself is toxic.
No.
But the message coming to young men is that it is, and that's why people like Andrew Tate, Jordan Peterson he says good things as well, but is he the best role model for a young man? Probably not. And same with Andrew Tate makes me laugh. That whole thing makes me laugh.
I think Jordan Peterson is a good role model. I think he does say a lot of good. Andrew Tate, I think he says a lot of bad.
Yeah.
There is a few glimpses of reasonable stuff. I understand where he's coming from. But people like Andrew Tate come across like, this is a millionaire. Like, who lives a certain life and then's trying to tell the average guy how to live. Like, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. Pete, I don't know if he comes from more of a psychologist. Like, I think I like it.
I agree with you.
I like it.
I get
but
you.
there are some things that I go, come on, man. Like, what are you doing?
I feel like he's too surface level, Jordan Peterson, right? I feel like he uses these big words.
He does.
And it's like, bro, at the end of the day, what you're saying is so surface level and you're not actually answering any questions.
Yeah.
Like, you're just kind of, this is how you should live. Okay, but is that actually practical?
You reckon he's...
Maybe we need to factor it into the curriculum. Like, I think there's a lot more that needs to be factored into
instead of learning like algebra.
Yeah,
like, algebra. I give algebra. Maybe people need algebra. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, I think you're right.
There's a lot in our school curriculum that I think could be changed to better support relationships, well-being, and society.
I think the curriculum's outdated.
Yeah,
it's absolutely wrong. I think, like, I see, like, I've got young nephews and nieces, and you've got like middle-aged kind of, like, how old are they? My kids.
9 and 13.
So they're about there. So Christian's about 9 too, and then there's a little one. I listen to and I think, that's so outdated. You know what I mean? We could fix up the education system so much more to actually teach people some life lessons on how to survive out there.
My girls,
that's the most important thing. Yeah. Like, you might say, like, to me, like, education and that now, it's important, but it's not as important as, like, people say it is or how it used to be. I think there's a lot more lessons to be learned to prepare you for life, because life is
even just like, through learning those things, you'll gain emotional intelligence. Being able to read a room, read people, that's going to get you a lot further than being an A student, for instance.
100%.
You can be an average graded student, but have all those other qualities that I think you'll lead a more fulfilling life.
What's the good of being an A grade student, right? Your 2 + 2 is fine. You know what I mean? And then you get out there and you're socially in there.
But there's research in that.
There is?
Yeah. That those students don't necessarily do better than your average graded student.
So how does that help you? Like, you can be, your 2 + 2s, but then you get out there and you absolutely, because life, the workforce, the dating scene is it's a killer out there, and it hurts people a lot. Like, by the time they get old enough, like, it's wrecked them so much, like, their lives they're mentally fucked. You know what I mean? I think that
this is where I think education needs to come in for parents as well that are raising children, like, at a school level, maybe more workshops, things like that, that are keeping them current in raising children in this climate.
I agree. And I'll tell you why I agree. That's a very good point there. I like that point. You know why? When you train a dog, right, you don't train the dog.
No.
You train the owner. You train the owner.
I'm in that stage in my life, so I can see this. Like,
well,
from
that's
all
what I mean.
angles.
Like, so you train the owner to train the dog. You should be training the parent how to parent.
Caregivers, educators, and
they should be. And I think even, like, the educators
need to be re-educated.
Aren't enough. I've seen, like, I remember when my kids were younger, like, the teachers that came in, the young teachers that came, I don't blame them. They couldn't control a class. They didn't know what to do. Like, they were done. I could see them. Like, I would get called in for the dumbest things. You know what I mean? I'm thinking, like, that never happened to us. Teachers knew how to control a class.
But they were also able to discipline differently.
Yeah, discipline
these days.
That's true too.
Yeah, I feel like these days, you say something to a parent and they don't really take it on board. It's everyone else's fault.
Yeah,
often this is the case.
Well, that's like a consequence of the society we've
choice
kind of built, right?
Yeah.
Where, especially
whereas teachers were high regarded, like what they said went. Whereas these days, I think they're disempowered in that regard.
Yeah, well, teachers, in my opinion, have the most important job in the world. I wholeheartedly believe that. You are literally...
I believe that too.
You have the entire future in your hands. Whether it's prep, year 12 or uni, whatever. You are literally shaping a young person's mind.
Do you think they realise that?
I don't know if they do, and if they don't, it's because for many years now they've been kind of not told, but they haven't been treated like they are. Right? They're not paid enough.
I was going to say that.
So they don't get paid. Exactly, right? So, bro, imagine doing any job.
And the red tape, they're under pressure.
Exactly.
So much.
Exactly.
That's taken away from
Petra Khan, generally the education system is more about indoctrination these days, similar to the military, which is why the government passed a social media ban for under 16, one source of information for the under 16.
Let's talk about it. Pro or against social media ban?
It's interesting.
Against.
Against it?
I don't think
pro
it's the solution.
Well, when you're...
Pro or against?
Hey, there's no
fence sitting.
No
fence sitting. Are you pro or against this ban?
It's not that easy to answer.
It has to be.
No, it's not.
It's not, but I've got a lot to say.
Because if you're going to make me answer, I'll be against it.
Why?
Because I don't think you should be holding back information at all, right?
Okay. Yep.
But in saying that, I think the under 16s are, their access to information is too much. You know what I mean? That there's certain things they don't need to see. And I'm talking about porn. I'm talking about all this sort of stuff.
How old were you when you were watching porn?
I got my first magazine at 10 or 11, but that's how I got it. But now it's completely different, and it's not like. Yeah. It's like it's giving people. I think it's giving kids false.
Yeah, you know.
But the ban isn't on porn.
So they can't. They can watch porn.
They shouldn't be able to access porn anyway. So porn isn't on Instagram. It shouldn't be on Instagram, right? That's an Instagram problem.
So
shouldn't be on Facebook. Shouldn't be on YouTube.
But it is.
But it shouldn't be. So that's a YouTube problem, right?
So what's the social ban?
But this is what I think.
So the social ban is for social media, right? So the social.
It excludes.
But is YouTube Facebook, part of that?
Yeah.
No,
I
don't know.
TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook.
Those ones.
So what are they trying to stop?
Hey?
What are they trying to stop now?
So they're saying that it's for their mental health.
Yeah, but what are they going to stop?
It's online bullying. So they're still, like, if they're accessing porn now, they're still going to be able to access porn in a month when the ban takes effect, right?
Yeah.
But I think these social media platforms need to be doing better to protect our children.
Absolutely.
Then I think 16 is ludicrous. So they're going to be going into VCE, then all of a sudden have access to social media.
That makes it worse.
At the worst time of their life.
That's like not ever touching a drink and then going, right, you can go now.
And where's the inquiry into this? Was it a one-day inquiry?
I don't know.
Cooked.
It was literally
it's the most Labour Party thing ever, and for some reason the coalition backed it.
But you know what? Like, it's like building a house, but you don't know how you're going to build it.
Yeah,
That's essentially what they've done.
Yeah, they're starting with the roof.
So now, like, we don't even know what this ban is going to look like.
So do we know, like, what can they access? Can they access?
So they're not going to be they're going to be able to access WhatsApp still.
Yep.
Which, I mean, you can still have group chats and
So they won't be able to access. Here they're going to have
Instagram,
like a face recognition.
Yeah, they'll have to
No, they still haven't. That's not steady.
Yeah, they don't even know yet.
They don't know.
I don't think they got no idea how it's going to.
No, they don't. That's what I'm saying.
They have this app in mind that's going to control it, but the app hasn't even been developed yet.
I think social media platforms should create or really limit what kids are exposed to. Like, if I reflect back to my daughter's Leah, she's 13, so had social media just this year, first year of high school. If I reflect back to that time where we were discussing what to allow, it was such a grey area. There were no real like guidelines or discussion or communication about it. The school did a lot on cyberbullying and cyber safety and things like that, but not really anything about any of this stuff. So I think there needs to be a lot of education in that. And then I think social media platforms need to take responsibility in what kids access. And then almost like a license, like anyone can sign up with a fake date of birth.
Kids will work it out.
Yeah, so everyone's saying you're right. They didn't ban the porn. All right, so that's a thing. And
so
Peter Brubaker says something. They'll always find a way.
Yeah, of course. I just said that. Kids these days.
Yeah, and great. Just before VCE. Who thought of that?
Yeah. So
and this will lead now to everyone over 16 having to prove their age every time you get on there.
So this
now we've got our own, like, now we're going to, you're going to have to do facial recognition every single time. Is that more sinister?
So here's where I'm going with this. I am so against this, it's not even funny. I don't even care about the kids about this. This isn't about the children.
About us.
This is about censorship, and it's about creating a digital identity, right? And forcing us into creating digital identities. So, you're going to have to have
next step.
Right, and you know, this is just probably step 12. Yeah. You know, there've been so many little things, right? One of the first initial things that I hated was the
Services Australia.
that was shocking. But way before that, there was an I don't know if I can say the word on YouTube, but like 9/11 anti-T.
Yeah,
that word.
Yep.
I don't want to say it.
Yeah, that's it. We're banned.
I don't know.
We're banned now.
We're already off.
I don't know if I can say the T word on YouTube, right?
Right,
I'm not going to say it, right? Yeah. So the government came out with this anti-T digital access, right?
Yes.
Where they didn't need a warrant.
Yes,
to search your phone. They don't need a warrant to search anything. All they need is suspicion of anything illegal. Now, that there shows you. So suspicion, who says what's suspicious or not? There's no clear definition.
Is there guidelines on that? No.
There's no clear definition. I'm just a cop on a Saturday night. I see a group of guys. They got beards. Get out of the car. Show me your phone. But I didn't do anything. I suspect that you've got illegal things in your car. Yeah. Sweet, bro. Done. Now they can search your car, they can search anything. They don't need a warrant for nothing. That's one bit of control now that you've just lost. There have been multiple things. This here is not about the children. You got to remember, and this is my conspiracy hat on. The government doesn't care about the people. People who think that any government cares about its citizens are cooked to me. They don't care, right? Yeah. This is about control. This is about removing more control from the parents. And eventually this is just leading to a digital identity.
They're arguing that the parents are the ones that are crying out for help.
I don't know. I know hundreds of parents.
I'm not crying out for help.
Yeah. No.
I think in terms of...
And even if we were, that's not the help we wanted.
No, I think...
So where did that come from? Like, why have they...
Because they know better than... They know what's best for your child more than you do.
But I think whether you teach your child at 13, I think definitely have a definite age that they can access these platforms. And I think it shouldn't be easy for them just to create profiles. So I think their steps, social media companies definitely need to take better responsibility to protect children.
Yeah, data.
But whether you teach your child at 13, 14, 15, 16, at some stage, an individual has to be taught discipline on social media, what's safe, what's not safe. So whether you're doing it 13 or 16, what's the difference?
So does this go back to teaching the parents?
Yes.
Instead of like
absolutely
making
education.
100%.
Education.
I'm constantly talking to my daughter about that.
Yeah.
Social media. Sometimes we'll jump on her social media.
Have a look,
Yeah, and I feel like, we use it in a positive way. We'll share recipes, health tips, mindset quotes, all that sort of thing. So I'm hoping her algorithms
pick
all that sort of stuff up. And I'll randomly, hey, let's jump on your socials, so show me, what's happening on there. Well, because she's 13, she's not 18 or 16. So I think, and she's open.
And then by the time she gets to like 16 and more adult age.
But you're disciplined around it. And I have the conversation. I say to her, if you're going to choose to spend all this time on these devices, think about what that means for your future. Yeah. Like, they're conversations we need to be having. You want to spend 5-6 hours a day or all your spare time on a device.
But you also have to set an example of that
100%
too.
I do. Yeah. I exercise regularly. We don't have phones at the dinner table.
Yeah, no use you spending like hours on the phone.
But that's a big thing.
And then telling them not to do it.
So this is where education for parents and caregivers, I think, is the big thing. I feel like the band is an easy way out. It's a band-aid.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, but if they really if they really cared about people, why haven't they somehow created like something for the elderly that keep getting scammed? What if they really cared? Why haven't they done that? Why are elderly people getting scammed at record numbers? They don't care.
No, they don't.
It's just these people. They look at the elderly like, you know what? Well, they got 20 years.
Well, that's actually the elderly. To me, sometimes I feel like they think they're a burden.
That's what I pay. Well,
you know what I mean?
So
they
like,
look after them.
They make
the medical. You know, I mean, this is costing me because you're not working anymore. Really, at the end of the day, they want you to work and pay you. And pay your mortgage. That's all they want, and take their pills. Let's be serious.
Yep,
that's all they want.
Pharmaceuticals. That's another show. Pharmaceuticals is another show.
Let's get into it, mate.
No, but you were saying I was going to talk to you about that.
Of a cheeky pharmaceutical.
But the other thing to. No, but you were saying you know someone. I was talking to yeah, might have to try to get someone on the show that might have to get someone inside. But the other thing, can I just go a bit off there? I was speaking to someone the other day. Is it true now that kids at school with their gender identity, if they wanted to change their identity, right? The schools now have power, right, to overrule the parent.
If the schools feel that the parents aren't supportive, then they take the decision away from the parent. That's
legislation.
That's not even a debate right now. That's just what it is.
Can I say something? That's fucked.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely. You know what's funny? They can't
access Instagram.
They can't.
You know.
But yet they can change their gender. They can change their gender, and I'm not saying that that's wrong or right. What I'm saying is. They're children. They're children.
There's a weird obsession.
They're children,
with these people.
We should have this, mate. Once you become an adult, let's be serious. Do whatever you want. I'm quite happy. I don't care. Whatever you want, follow whatever footy team you want. I do not care. As a child, that's what we're there for. To try to guide them in, and they're not in the right state of mind. Their brain isn't developed to make these sort of decisions, you know what I mean, that could impact the rest of their lives. It's ridiculous that they're doing this to parents. Imagine that. Imagine you're trying to tell your daughter and they come along and go, listen, it's out of your hands now. We've decided. We've sent the kid to like a psychologist. They've talked, and we've decided now we're going to give them these blockers.
Yeah, look, I'm not sure what the process is with.
Well, I'm
the
sure there'll be.
that.
I'm sure there'll be like a psychologist and that.
Yeah.
But the point is, it shouldn't happen.
You've taken power away from the parents. So that begs the question then: how old is too young? What's too young?
Well,
because if you're too young at 15 to use Instagram, then why at 10 or 11 is the kid responsible enough or mature enough?
What age are they saying you're an adult in Australia?
18.
Then that's it. Well, decided that it's 18, then it's 18. Why are we now saying at 12 you can decide one of the biggest decisions of your life?
Can't drink, can't vote, can't smoke, can't do anything.
No.
Can't even use it. You can't
get a tattoo.
You can't like a picture of a butterfly on Instagram.
You need permission. Actually, they won't even send your kid on an excursion unless you sign the consent form.
That's correct.
But
we can change your gender.
It's crazy.
Like, how does that even make sense to people? Like, how are we allowing this to happen?
It's
thinking about it. I'm processing.
I'm telling you, I've been processing it for a few days now, and I've been thinking, imagine they come up to you now, what would you do? Like, what do you mean? Like, it would like...
Yeah, but you say that.
But then you can't do nothing.
But it's actually out of your hands.
Yeah, it's out of your hands.
You've lost.
You might say, no, I'm not going to agree to that. Well, no.
It's not up there.
Legally, they can stop it. Just like now they can bloody look at your phone, or they can stop you doing that. What's next,
No matter how against it you are, if they say this is what's happening, that's what's happening. And if you, like, what are you going to do? You're going to get aggressive. All of a sudden, you're not fit to be a parent.
Yeah. You say something, then all of a sudden, then, yeah.
It's such a fine line. You just kind of have to...
I think it goes back to the confusion in society.
Mm-hmm.
I think no one knows. There's not enough research and evidence in modern day society at the moment. So we're kind of making it up as we go. That's the other problem.
Well, this is new.
Yeah, it's all new.
It's kind of new.
This is why these inquiries, even the social media one, like really, how long was the inquiry for? 24 hours.
It's shocking.
It was something ludicrous.
It's shocking.
These are all important inquiries that we do. What's happened?
Oh no, just read the comments like, who's this one? PJ Wetter.
PJ
Feder.
That's Morris. PJ Vetter.
Vetter, yeah, that's what I said. He reckons wait till you find out the earth is flat.
Oh no.
Shout out
that's
Morris.
For another show.
Shout
out Morris.
That's another show.
I've got someone planned for that. We're going to have a discussion about that one day.
Flat earthers.
The flat earthers, that's another breed of people, mate. Yeah, very interesting.
The other thing with social media, I think if you look at kids nowadays, a lot of their community and socializing is on social media.
Yes.
So they'll snap each other, they'll even meet, like between schools on these platforms.
They're going to find a way. They'll
find a way.
If I'm an app developer right now, I'm creating like another Snapchat or something that they can access.
A kid's version?
Yep.
Why haven't they done that?
Well, I'm sure there is. I'm sure there's 1,000 apps out there that mimic Snapchat.
Yeah, but if you get a kid's version, what stops them then all of a sudden that to go rogue?
There'll be another one.
But it doesn't need to be a kid's version.
Like,
it just needs to be, like all these platforms should have limitations for that age group.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Like what limitations?
What I'd say is who can contact them. So
and what they see.
What they see, sure, but I mean...
What do you mean what they see?
That's right, who can contact them?
What are you going to stop them seeing?
Well, anything that's inappropriate.
What's inappropriate?
Well...
Porn.
Yeah, porn.
Well, porn's one.
Sexualization.
That's what...
But you said they can go to YouTube and watch that.
Well, I didn't say YouTube, you said YouTube. I don't think
I'm
it's
assuming
on YouTube.
I don't know.
I don't know. I can't say the T word on YouTube. I'm sure... I don't know. Maybe there is stuff on YouTube.
Google. I'm sure you can go to Google and all that.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, there's always ways to access
violence. All those things.
Well, even that. You know what I mean? Like.
But again, to me, that's like, for me, it's more so if we're really gonna care about kids, let's focus on protecting them and not just saying cut them off. Not cut them off. Don't cut them off.
Educate them. At some point in life, they need to be educated.
Exactly.
And at 16 is not the age to be doing that in these platforms. And then what happens for my daughter, for instance, she's been on the platforms for 1 year. So in 12 months' time, what happens? What happens to those children that have got used to living life like that?
Yeah, and that's right.
Because now I've been reflecting on that. I'm like, now I'm visualizing, so what? In 12 months' time, when it's passed, or it comes into play, all right, hand in your phone, let's delete all their apps. And then what about...
And then what happens at 16? They just go crazy when they're 16.
When we want them to be focusing on the 2 most important years of their education.
They definitely haven't thought this through properly. And I think you're right. It's more about control.
And what about if we go back to genders and things like that?
The 2 genders.
Yeah, okay.
The 2 genders.
74. Excluding them from social media platforms excludes them from communities as well, where they might fit into these niche communities.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what happens with that? What happens to protecting them in that aspect?
Again, governments have proven that they don't care about. They don't care about.
How do they access those communities that aren't within their direct communities?
Guess what's going to happen? There's going to be public meetups instead of online meetups. And where do you think the creeps are going to be? The creeps all of a sudden. Well,
but we used to have public meetups.
Yeah.
And it was a lot better. Now it's like...
Well, I think now...
So there's probably nothing wrong with that. Maybe get them out a bit.
Maybe. I don't know.
But what is the reason for this?
For what? The ban?
For mental health.
What is the underlying...
Well, the bullying...
It's not going to stop the bullying.
And the mental health component.
Well, this is what the issue is.
And also lack of concentration. They're saying that, children constantly being on social media platforms and constantly scrolling, they're not able to concentrate.
Look, that definitely is an issue.
But again, it comes down to discipline.
Yeah.
A lot of adults are the same. So at some point in your life, you need to learn that. So why not teach them earlier on?
So again, it comes back to teaching.
Education.
Education within the community.
The parents, the teachers and all that. Instead of
And those platforms are forever changing. So that education needs to be constant. That's not something that we just get educated once.
Someone wrote something before. I'm gonna try to find it. It made a really, really good point. Here we go. Petra Khan. I think you read it out. Generally, the education system is more about indoctrination these days.
Yeah, I read that out.
Yeah. That really stuck with me, right? Yeah. Because what you're creating is true, one source of information.
Yeah.
Which is school. You've removed now. Kids don't watch the news, right?
Nah. I don't think no one watches the news anymore.
The news is on their phone.
Do you ever watch the news?
Look, when the whole Trump thing happened, I was glued.
But that's
so there's moments in life that I really
and I did the same. But you'd watch it on social media. You don't watch the news anymore.
I've got the ABC
Remember we used
app.
to watch the 6 o'clock news every.
My dad was religious with that. No, I've got the ABC app, so I'll read articles.
There's a lot of reading in there.
I can't
read. But all they're doing
is
just controlling the information.
I hate the ABC.
Do you?
Yeah, I can't stand them. They're my last source of information. I just can't stand the ABC. Very, very biased. Very.
Yeah, they are a bit biased.
Very.
But aren't they just controlling what they want you to hear?
Well, they're the mouthpiece of the government.
Not only the ABC, but I think in all media.
Absolutely.
Most of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Apart from this show.
Yeah, where it's unbiased.
Unfiltered.
No, but seriously, the social media part has changed the whole landscape of where people get their information from now. Where it used to, you had no choice but to watch your Channel 7 and that. Now at least people have got a choice, they can come out and listen to some real conversation, and when a topic comes out, they can debate it, they can look it up, and they can find out.
There's a lot of false information out there.
There is a lot of false. It's always going to be a lot of false.
And if people, their source of information is their feed, and they're always following that same train of thought, that's a big problem.
That's true too. You always these are the same sort of people and that. No, I agree too.
Yeah.
I agree too.
It's a crazy world, man. It's a crazy world, and there's...
Anyway, I'm really against it. I feel passionate about it as well.
Me too, but probably for a different reason. For me, it's just I'm anti any form of censorship. You can't censor people.
There should be they say this.
I didn't think about it from that aspect as much, admittedly. More because I've got children in that age group.
Yeah.
And I see...
And I do agree, that something has to be done, because I do believe that this social media is ruining a lot of kids, you know what I mean? So they're getting a lot of this stuff maybe they shouldn't be seeing. It's all good and proper, and it's all good for us adults to have a laugh over certain things, but I think it is affecting the kids a lot. I can see the way they speak.
Get your kids, get them engaged in that age group. You have a lot of influence on them. Get them engaged in sports. Walk the walk, like we were saying before. Doing other things. Get them doing things.
But
that
again,
takes them away from that.
Parents, it's hard.
Yeah.
But it's as hard as you make it. You can make time for that stuff.
Isn't society and the way life is now making it hard?
They're at school all day, you're at work.
Yeah.
So there's ample opportunity to engage in other things. Team sports is amazing. I think that teaches the
Team
kids.
sports is the best. I agree.
Team sports is
But can all parents do it?
Why not?
Parents, I don't know. Some parents would.
Isn't it a responsibility to I'm not a parent, right? So I'm looking at this. I have no experience with kids. Isn't it a responsibility of a parent to be present?
Yeah.
It's just a non-negotiable. You just...
I understand.
And it doesn't...
But what I'm saying is sometimes life gets in the way, Andy.
Yep.
And you've got no choice. You know what I mean? So I understand, like, you absolutely, mate, get them into sports, you know what I mean? Follow the Carlton Football Club if you want some real pain.
But what do you mean they've got no choice? What, like, I don't understand.
You're always working, you got bills, you got a mortgage, you know what I mean? It's the work part of it. Like,
yeah, but you can coordinate those kids to attend these sports. You don't have to always be physically there, if that's the case.
Maybe there's a way of working around it, but isn't that now back to training or teaching the parents how to negotiate these things and navigate these things?
This is going back to the curriculum. I actually think that the curriculum could be a little bit more responsible for this stuff.
I think that the curriculum and the schools
like after school,
they totally responsible for it, because it can't be all up to the parent.
I know, even after school activities, there's a lot of countries around the world that head that up.
You know, another thing, like I used to find when it's a few years now, not that many years, but a few years since Dylan was at school, you know, they used to ring me up with problems, right? And I used to pay a lot of money to send him to that school, you know. They used to ring me up with these problems, right? I remember one specific, when he was like, this was earlier on, he was struggling a bit at school, and they got me in for an interview. So I'm speaking to the fucking coordinator there, right? I'm already nervous that I've got to be there, right? And he's going, oh, you know, like, his writing isn't up to standard and all this kind of stuff. And I'm going, okay. And then he shows me, like, work from another person and going, and this is what I mean. And then after he finished, I go, you finished? I said, what do you want me to do about it? This is your job. Like, maybe you should, like, read, like, I'm paying you good money. Like, my question now to you is, why isn't his writing up to that standard? Why isn't it up to that standard? Well, you know, no. I'm paying you to do this.
It's a service.
I'm paying you to do this because I'm so busy, right? I'm working. I'm trying to pay for everything. Now, you're bringing me, what you want me to do now is when I get home, I got to do extra work after the fucking 10 grand a year I'm paying you. Are you serious? I said, maybe the issue is, I said, maybe the issue is with you guys, because you just can't control it. Like, I want him to be up to that standard and he's not, and I'm paying you to do it. You know what I mean? And I didn't get it, you know what I mean? So maybe it is up to them more. Like, we've got to make sure that the schools and that are more responsible for our kids.
Keep them accountable.
Right, and they've got to be taught, and maybe it's not even all their fault. As you said, they're under pressure, the classes are overloaded and they're not getting the right thing. The curriculum comes from like the 1920s, you know what I mean? They've got no idea what's going on. Maybe there should be an overhaul, you know, maybe there should be more help to the parents, you know what I mean? Like, how do we get through this? How do we put them into life? Like, after school, why can't they finish school an hour early and then we chuck them into like a team sport? Make them do this.
I think it can be factored in.
And I think it has to be factored in.
I'll pick up my younger one, 3:20, and then by 5 I've got to have her at basketball. Whereas if we factored that into the end of the school day,
that'll make it easier for you then.
Yeah.
It'll take the pressure off you. They still get their stuff. What are they doing at school, really? To tell you the truth, like, especially earlier age, all that school they're learning, it's all fucking bullshit, man. Like, they're learning nothing. Like, half of them are learning nothing, you know what I mean? Like, let's structure this you know, like, get them ready for life, mate. Like, get them ready.
More life skills.
More life skills.
Even things like taking out an insurance policy, tax, BAS.
Yeah, just
like,
normal
why
stuff.
are kids not learning that?
I had no idea about BAS until I got a
credit cards. Like, why are we learning that? The most important thing.
Important thing.
Algebra. I don't know the fuck about algebra. I know everyone uses that, but it's the perfect example. Yeah, we get a good mark. Or where does it really? Most people will not use that. If you're going to use it, fine. We'll teach it, right? But if you're not going to use it, I'd rather you teach about how to manage your money. One of the most important things in your life.
The most important. Budgeting, money,
people.
Tax.
They don't know anything. They go in there, they think like, oh, you give me a card. Who's going to pay for it? Oh, don't you just go to the ATM? Where do you think the money comes from? Yeah. Like, they got no idea, you know what I mean? Just like little things, you know what I mean? The team sports is another big thing. I think that Every kid should be in a 10 spot.
Every kid should be in
every
10
team. Because it teaches to work together. It teaches you that you're not the number one. You know, it teaches you that if you don't work together,
also,
you won't achieve the goal.
It'll give them that feel-good feeling from exercise.
Absolutely.
And they'll be less inclined.
Well, the exercise comes back to, well, let's be serious. All the overweight people. Look, let's be serious. Like, it's no good for you. I don't care. You can have all your social people coming out, dancing, singing their songs, and they're all white. That's not good for you. You're carrying too much weight. It's no good for your heart. It's no good for your legs, diabetes later on. Why aren't we teaching that to the kids? You know what I mean? Like, we just, like, as you said, man, the governments have got their own agenda. They don't give a shit.
Don't get me started on my opinions of the curriculum, mate. Because I
like your opinion.
Nah, I can't give you my opinion. I can't.
It's just like, I think they're all over the place, you know what I mean? They're just like, the right people are not in charge.
I think the kids are learning exactly what
they want them to learn.
What they want them to learn.
But it's always
health-wise, like, I feel like they are being a little bit
better,
proactive in health, because I think our obesity stats are alarming. So they've got no choice but to start to bring that into the curriculum.
But I think that should be one of the most important things. Like, isn't your health one of the most important things?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And mental health, wellness.
Mental health is another big one.
Gratitude,
like, how many people are depressed these days?
Well, what's depression?
I don't know what depression is, but what I'm saying is, I've never heard about this, and then all of a sudden everyone's depressed. And don't get me wrong, there are people who are depressed, right? But is it a way out for some people?
Yeah, I think mental health can be used loosely. I'm saying that in the most respectful way. I think everyone has flat days. That's actually a normal part of being a human being. Everyone has high days. So I think it can be used a bit loosely. Even anxiousness, it's quite normal to experience feelings of anxiety. But when it can be disrespectful.
Does it become an excuse for people not to do stuff? Oh, I'm depressed.
Maybe.
I've got this. You know what I mean? And again, there are people who are seriously got issues, you know what I mean, that have to be, like, fixed.
Our mental health.
And there is people that need medication, like, medication isn't for everyone, but there are some people that do need it.
It's definitely a crisis. We can't deny that.
But I notice a lot of people, especially with kids, like, you know what else? Everyone's got autism now.
Yeah, because they're diagnosing it.
Is it because they're diagnosing it? Is it because that's a good point there? Is it because they're now more aware of it, and they're actually diagnosing it, and they weren't, like?
I think so.
Is that one of the reasons that it's higher?
No, we may have a higher incident, but I think often kids were labelled as the naughty kid, or there were certain labels that were given in that regard, or in actual fact they were neurodivergent or on the spectrum.
Oh, that's true, and I think we're a lot.
Yeah, I think we're a lot more aware, and also there's funding available now. Yeah. So it would be in a parent's best interest.
But what about what's the other one? What's the AD? What's the
ADHD?
What about that one? Is that real? Like, is every kid got now? Like, if they're a little bit like, to me, if they were just a little bit like
hyperactive.
Yeah, all of a sudden, like, like my nephew, he's a bit like that, right? Great soccer player, trust me. In the future, we could have a star. He's a really, really good, man. He's really good. At one stage, they wanted to put him on tablets, and I said, no, you're not fucking doing that. You know what I mean? And I said, mate, there's no chance that a little kid like that, you're going to be doing that sort of shit, man. The kid just wants to bloody play, man. The kid is just over, like, excited about it. So what is wrong with that? Like, is everyone so quick now to...
Well, there's a lot of adult diagnosis now. You know that?
Oh, that too,
of ADHD.
I'm definitely like the way they describe it, mate, I'm like prime.
But is it just like normal?
There's also like trauma-induced... You can have like ADHD like symptoms, but it could be a trauma response. Like,
I just want to go back to what you were saying, Rocco. I'm not with you with the whole, how you're talking about, like, they're just depression and all that, like, I think it's a very old school way of thinking.
Yeah, tell me.
Right? You could be right. There are people taking advantage of it.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
It is a crisis.
Yeah.
As I said, I think there is a problem with it.
Yeah.
But I think some people take that advantage where, like, just before you go on, like, you know what I mean? Like you said, it's all right to be depressed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think it becomes almost an excuse for your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've noticed a lot of people, I got this, I can't.
So you mean like there isn't enough resilience?
I don't know, it just seems to be a little bit like that. Like there's always an excuse. My mum didn't hug me enough. You know, there's always an excuse. You know, how about you get off your ass and start doing something about it? You know, I don't know. Maybe that is old school.
See, that's old school.
Maybe.
Right? And I'm not saying you're wrong.
Yeah.
But it is an old school way of thinking, because I think we need to be somewhere in the middle of where we're at. Right? I think you're a bit like too harsh, too old school. And I think the way we kind of cotton wool people is a bit too much.
Yeah.
So I think education again.
I was just about to say that.
I think education is important.
And at home, again.
Yeah, I think education, and like, look, depression is very real. Anxiety is very real. I know firsthand anxiety.
But are we so quick just to give them tablets and just like...
Maybe we are. But I think the health system in Australia in particular is so cooked that it's just a quick way to just get a number out the door. You know, I don't think like, and again, going back further to what we discussed earlier, how you mentioned that, you know, schooling and education isn't that important these days. I think we're not putting enough emphasis on it.
On schooling and education.
In regards to higher learning. No, I get what you're saying.
I think
you don't need it as much anymore, right?
Well, no, I think...
Or the right curriculum.
Yes, I think we need to like change it a bit.
Okay,
like make it more progressive.
Yeah.
For what the time period we are now.
Because I think we're lacking skilled doctors, we're lacking skilled nurses, we're lacking a lot of highly skilled people, right, in really important positions, which has a roll-on effect, because all of a sudden now we've got, we can talk about immigrants, but we've got foreigners coming in, and they're working in the doctor roles, and they're great doctors probably, right, but they're probably not accustomed to Australian lifestyles and Australian. So maybe they're...
But even that's a whole nother... A whole nother thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like even their education...
It's different.
Like our doctor's education is based on a 50-year-old male still.
Yeah.
So that's actually been looked at, being changed currently.
I think my missus told me that like 2 days ago, actually. She said something like that.
Explain that again.
Like what they learn, their teachings when they're doing medicine is based on a white 50-year-old man.
Oh.
You know, like all their scenarios and research and studies is based on that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, which is really skewed, obviously.
Well, I think at the end of the day, I think we're all going to agree that there has to be an overhaul
absolutely,
of the education, the teachers, the parents. There has to be more of that going on.
But who's doing this? The government that's banning social media?
If we're relying on the government, we're going to get nowhere, right? But
we have to, though.
But we've got no choice.
But we're in that position. They've created
unless
this
we
society.
stand up.
But we've shown as a community that the government will have its way with us, and we'll just sit there and cop it.
Yeah.
We've shown.
Do you think there'll be a lot of backlash in regards to the social media ban?
No. I think if there is, it'll be like just quiet. It won't be like, and it won't last long. People will give up, and it'll just become the norm. It'll just fit back in, especially if they come up with a system that actually works. Right? I think it'll just be the norm.
I think we're the first country, or France.
We're the first.
Or France, it's 15, I think.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure I saw that we were the first. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think the first, or France.
Saw that on social media.
There you go. There you go.
It's such a weird world we're in. Such a strange. There's so much happening, and I feel like they're just focused on the wrong things. Like, I understand kids' mental health is important, but you don't give a shit about kids' mental health. If you did, you'd be focused on...
There's going to be implications to their mental health by this ban.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. And again, it goes back to they don't really care about its citizens. No government cares. People can tell me Trump is going to do this and Trump is going to do that. Mate, I hated the Democrats, right? But you are absolutely kidding yourself if you think Trump gives a fuck about you. Trump doesn't care either. Like, they don't care.
Do you think any politician cares?
Nope. I think they start caring. I think when they walk in...
Everyone starts.
I think they come in
and then they
trying to be noble.
Sucked into the whole system.
It's a system. You want to get ahead, it's
I agree with that. I've said that before. Everyone goes with the right intention, but then you just get beaten down so many times that you think...
I don't think Trump is the answer.
We've actually got a... Hey, we got a super chat here. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Morris.
Morris. You want to read it out?
Morris, champion bloke. The reality is quite simple. Every industry is profit driven and it's only focus. We've been lied to our whole lives. Swamp needs draining. Well, who drains the swamp?
This is the problem.
Because everyone says Trump will, but all Trump's doing is putting his mates in.
Yeah.
Like Elon Musk, Tesla,
oh my God,
richest guy in the world. What the fuck does he know about government, bro? Like, come on, bro. Like,
did you see when?
But is he better than what there was?
Who knows?
No,
right? Who knows? I'm not going to be. I can't read the future, but probably not, because he hasn't been educated in that field. Whatever, I can't even remember the thing is, but I just, again, like if I was in the States and I had to vote, I'd vote Trump. I would 100% vote Trump, because I hate everything that the Democrats publicly stand for. But again, Trump is not the answer. There is no answer in the government. I don't think government is the answer. It's us. It's the people.
It's the people.
And we've shown time and time again that we will let governments have their way with us. There needs to be some form of uprising, and I'm happy to lead. If anyone wants to follow, I'm down. But yeah, I don't think government is the answer, and reliance on government isn't the answer. Unfortunately, that's what we're doing. They've built a community, they've built a society where we are reliant on government. Everything we do, we're reliant on them.
Have we always been like that?
In some form or another, yeah, absolutely.
I think we have.
You know,
do we need to be like that? Like, I think, I've thought about this. Like, do we need to be almost told what to do as a society, or else we just run?
Well, I think
this is the thing. Like when we said, things were much more defined, whereas now it's crazy.
Well, now it's definitely got crazier. And I think it's only going to get worse. Like, I think it's going to go more crazier, you know what I mean?
But I think we need, people researching and educated people in the fields, like doing recommendations, doing inquiries, doing the research, where we're coming out with real data and we're able to put in place, like the social media ban. We should have real data that supports that, a 12-month inquiry.
We've got none of that.
We've got none of that.
I don't know what's happened. Like,
it was a very short...
I heard about it like a while back, like, you know how you hear, like, there might be this, but then all of a sudden, it passed.
Very quickly.
And you always worry when these bills get passed very quickly what the agenda is for it, because that's, like, we're all sitting here thinking to ourselves.
The elections.
When this sort of, like, social media ban gets passed, like, there's got to be something else to it. Like, it's not as simple as, like you said, we want to help the kids, like,
it's not about that, mate.
There's something else.
I don't know how this is helping my children.
Well, I don't think no one I've spoken to has said this is going to help.
Even things like the filters, for instance. My daughter and I were talking about this recently. One of her friends put some videos up and I'm like, she looks so different. She goes, Mum, she's got a skinny filter on. Like, even allowing that age group to access these filters, how don't you see that as a problem?
Yeah.
Different when they're adults, but all these sort of things they can do.
It's shocking.
To alter the way they look.
It's shocking. And it's like everything, like, it's just shocking, like the filters and it's just like, because what you're saying, like imagine like every photo is a filter and that, like what are you saying about yourself? Like, I don't know. It's real weird, man.
Well, it's years, decades of indoctrination into people that you are not good enough. It's product, like it's just another product that they've pushed on us, and at the moment the product they're pushing on us is you're not good enough unless you have this product, right? And
who's pushing that?
Brands, marketing.
How do you stop that?
You can't.
Education.
You can't stop it.
You educate the consumer.
Yeah. You educate your children.
So after all this we've been talking about it always comes back to that again, doesn't it?
Even,
educating.
When the kids rock up to a party, they're cloned.
Yeah.
They look the same.
Yeah.
Because they've all snapped before.
Yeah.
Or things like that, and they literally look the same.
What do you mean? When I was dating...
Which is fine. Trends are great, but I think bring back that individuality. Yeah. I always talk to the kids about that.
Like, I think,
embrace what you like. You're going to go... I love trends too, obviously. But I think be an individual in the way you portray yourself.
When I hit the dating scene again, it was like I was meeting with the same girl over and over at the start. Like, it's like they all look the same. They all kind of talk the same. They all come from... It's like that conveyor belt. It's like they're all made in the same way. And it was like, do I just attract this? Like, is it me? But...
What age group were you looking at?
30s, early 30s, late 30s, like around there.
Yeah.
Kind of. And it was like, I dated some in their 20s. That's a whole different issue, right? But it was like...
Clones.
Yeah. It was just like literally I'm talking to the same girl. It's like they were all the same, and it was like...
Yeah. So are they being conditioned by social media?
That's what it is. It's like they're all after...
By society.
Yeah. And this is why, the social media ban, like, again, I disagree with it, but something's got to get done, man.
Yes,
not just for the 16-year-olds. It's just like... I think it all comes down to education. I think that's what you can do whatever you want, but we've got to educate the people. You know what I mean? Like, we've got to work out.
Research. Definitely.
Not enough research gets done for sure.
Research, inquiry, and then education.
Now I'm gonna message here from I can't see shit. Is it Fraser?
Fraser maybe.
Fraser J Rosie. Can you see that?
Yep. Divine timing. I'm 45 and entering the stage of my life, and I think the word you're looking for, Rocco, is obese, and I agree it's unhealthy inside and out. Congratulations on making it around the sun.
Oh, because my birthday.
Because it's your birthday. Oh. You're not a spaceman.
There you go. I was waking out that last week.
I know, me too, Rock, for a second.
But obese, right, it's the obese part of it, you know what I mean? Like the obese people, and they're making it sound like that it's okay to be obese. No, it's not. It's not. And we shouldn't be teaching people that it's okay to do that. Yeah, 100%. Hey, I reckon we'll cut some cake.
Let's cut it.
We'll cut some cake. And while we cut it, I'll cut it.
Get plates?
Could I give another topic?
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, God. I'm sweating already.
About it. I'll put it in the description.
Let's go.
Abortion. You know we're going to talk about this. I'm going to cut the cake.
You cut the cake. Let's go. I don't know. What's your stance on abortion? Being a woman.
Yes, this is exactly what... Because we've actually discussed this as men, you know.
I'm pro-choice.
Yes.
Definitely pro-choice. Where do we start? But it's definitely not a clear-cut topic or conversation. That I will say.
Okay. Well, I'm also pro-choice. I'm pro-choice with everything. Right? I have my personal belief, and my personal belief is I don't like it, and I don't think it should happen. But I'm able to separate my personal belief from what I think legislation should be. Right? So my personal belief, especially on a topic regarding women, has no place in that. Right? Like, I would never force anyone to not have an abortion.
So if you were in a relationship and there was
a pregnancy?
Yeah. you're against it, or you would support your partner in making the choice?
It's going to be her choice regardless.
Okay.
Right? If I'm asked my opinion, it's a no. Right? We're keeping it. That's my opinion. And I would be inclined to...
But what about if there's certain circumstances that aren't ideal? Like you identify well into the pregnancy that the child has a severe disability. Would you still say we're having it?
Personally, yeah. But again, it wouldn't be my choice. I'd make my opinion.
Don't cut me though.
You don't want that one?
Oh, no.
I'd make my opinion.
But you want some of this one?
No.
Are you cutting it?
Huh?
Are you cutting it?
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, of course I'm going to cut it.
Yeah, I'd make my opinion known.
I was going to give you a bit of both.
All right, just a little bit.
I'd make my opinion known.
All right, a bit of it.
I wouldn't push it. Like, it's not my place. Yeah, it's her body, literally her body. But my opinion is quite set. Like, that's my belief. But again, my belief has no place.
Is that supported by religion or just your belief?
A bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely based on religion, but also just my own personal morals, I think. Where my moral standing on that topic is definitely no. Like, but again, it doesn't matter for me. Like, my opinion on this does not matter. You know, it shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pro-choice.
I disagree. I think not that we decide, but
on legislation.
I don't think legislation, but I think a man can be part of the decision.
Absolutely, Anna, absolutely,
Like,
and should be part of it.
They're part of the act.
Yeah, exactly.
They've got to be part of it.
Exactly.
So,
I'm talking about the actual legislation part. Like, if I was in a position to make the choice on it, I'd either, if I had to make a choice, if it was my call, then, you know, I'm always pro-choice with everything in life, right?
Yeah.
I think everybody should have the choice and freedom to do whatever they want.
So if you were doing the legislation, you would be pro-choice?
Absolutely. Right? Again, I don't think it's a man's kind of decision to make. I genuinely don't think it's a man's decision to make.
I don't think, personally...
It's a lot of cake.
I know.
Yeah, no, well, you don't have to eat it.
I said little.
Well, I'm trying to cut as small as possible without like not falling apart. But
that's all right. It's your birthday. We eat cake.
Well, that's a little one, I reckon, for
Thank you.
I don't mind having a big one. Yeah.
Thank you, my friend.
I think it's always
It's hot. It's hot.
What's hot?
It's hot.
Is it? Makes you feel quite comfortable.
I'm all right today.
Yeah,
last week I was struggling.
Hot, man.
Last week I was
hot, but I've got the
struggling.
fan in here too.
Yeah, I don't know what that's. No, it's all right.
I think it's always.
Can we have spoons, please?
Yeah. It's always the choice of.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The person, no matter what it is, when it comes down to their body, you know what I mean? So, and to tell you the truth, I'm going to be very controversial here.
Here we go.
And anyone that says like that they're pro-life is wrong.
Why?
Because I agree that you should give the baby, the fetus, whatever you want to call it, right? The same rights as a human being, correct? Always, yeah? So why are you giving the baby more rights?
I don't understand what's more rights.
Well, what you've done is you've given the baby the right to use another person's body to survive, where that person hasn't got that right. So you can't, as an individual...
I think that too. Pro-life to that woman that's pregnant.
No,
right?
well, what I'm saying is the baby should have the same rights as a person, right?
But in this instance, you're saying
giving
they've
them
got more rights.
Do you know that a dead person, right, has more rights if that legislation gets through and say like you can't have an abortion, for example, a dead person has more rights than a person with a uterus. A dead person.
A dead person?
Because you can't use a dead person's parts unless it's got their consent.
You're right.
None of it. None of it. There could be a person dying and you die and they can't touch your body parts. Right? But what you're doing now is you're giving the baby more rights than either a person with a uterus or a dead person. And how is that fair?
Do you think it's fair that, I'm not talking about exceptional circumstance where a baby would be sick or, you know, other circumstances where a woman would fall pregnant.
And even that, people would say, just say a baby's going to be disabled or sick or whatever, people will say they still have a right to live. Like they'll still say that.
That's what I believe, right? That's my personal belief.
Yeah. As long as they can live on their own. As long as they don't need the woman to survive, they have every right. But soon as you give that baby, I'm a man, but soon as you give that baby, because what happens if we reverse that then?
What do you mean?
And say, all right, what we'll do is, if we could do this, medically we could do this, right? We're going to take out the baby, right? And we're going to connect it to you, right? And you got no choice. How would you feel about that?
Well, this is why.
And not even your baby,
but the fact
someone else's baby.
The fact that I can never go through what a woman goes through is why I say that I have no place in answering that question legally.
But you have a place in answering, has anyone the right to use your body? Anyone. You have that right. You can answer that question.
Well, no, but that's not anyone. That's your child.
It doesn't matter, because once your child gets born, from the moment, I will put it like this, the baby's inside the mother. It's got one set of rights, right? Because we're saying then it's got the right to use the mother of the body. 1 minute later, when it comes out, it loses those rights. The baby all of a sudden needs a kidney or a heart. Does the mother have to give it to it?
Absolutely not.
No.
So what's the difference?
You're talking about exceptional circumstances.
It's not exceptional.
It is, because that doesn't happen every day.
No, it's not exceptional. Because it's not exceptional. The whole question is, has one human the right to use another body? That's the question.
This is why I'm pro-choice. I think ultimately...
That's the only question. Now, I understand that it's very complicated because, yes, we've got a human life. I understand that.
Yeah.
Right? And there has to be a point where we decide the abortion or maybe give birth to it, where it can live on its own, maybe in an incubator, and then be adopted and whatever. But you don't have to look after that baby if you don't want to anymore.
But I think in this process, there needs to be a whole lot of consultation as well. Counselling,
100%.
communication, education.
And there's got to be a lot more education on this, you know what I mean? And a lot more. But the core of it, it should not go past, every human should have the same right. And you're just given, not you, when I say you, I mean, they are given more rights than a woman.
So
and you can't do that. You can't do that.
So flip it then. By choosing whether to eliminate this person or not, all of a sudden the mother has more right than that. No, you can't poison the well because you've just done that. How?
Because you've said eliminate. You can't do that.
But you are eliminating.
No, you can't do that. You're not eliminating anything. No,
you are.
No, you're aborting the baby. You're not.
Okay, by aborting the baby, you're not allowing that baby to grow into something, right?
But it doesn't matter.
That baby is dependent on that mother.
100%.
So ultimately, it has to be her choice.
And this is why I say that my personal opinion shouldn't matter, because again, I'm standing on religious and personal ideals. So why can't we say eliminate?
Because you're poisoning the well. It's like saying...
Are you not eliminating the pregnancy?
Yeah, I think it's the wrong choice.
Yeah, it's a wrong word.
Why though?
Well, as soon as you say a thing like that, it's like saying...
Harsh.
All right, no, it's like saying...
So it's hurting feelings.
No, it's like saying now you're executing the baby.
Like murder.
You're just poisoning the well here. If you're going to use words, let's use like it's aborting the baby. That's it.
And let's face it, it's not going to be a walk in the park for the mother. It's
this is
like be a traumatic experience.
I think
Are you
this
going
is
to say to the mother
so
you're eliminating your baby?
But it is. That's what you're doing.
No.
We're just saying that. Maybe I'm saying it harshly, but that's what it is.
That's not a good choice.
No, it's not a good. I don't think any woman would use that word.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, you wouldn't use that word. I'm just saying, like, as soon as you start, it's like saying you execute that baby. I understand what you're doing is the baby's getting aborted, right? That's it.
I just think we're using nice words, but that's ultimately that's what's happening.
That's how you feel about it. You're passionate in that regard.
Like, I just think that's happening. Like, whether we agree or not, that's what's happening. Like, you know, if it's hurting feelings,
are you executing, like, for example, just say a close relative of yours, right, needs your kidney.
Yep.
And you go, mate, like, I can't give him my kidney, man, because, you know, like, are you executing that person? But it's relying on you.
Well, the definition of it, by definition...
You haven't executed it.
I haven't personally executed her.
So you can't use that word. You can't use the word executed. I just think...
I don't know. I just think you're getting rid of something.
Not necessarily.
That's what an abortion is.
No.
You're getting rid of it.
It can't sustain its own life. Like, you can't expect to rely on another person. That's the... See, you know, you said before about, like...
Again, I'm pro-choice.
Yeah,
I'll put that out there.
No, it's a good discussion.
Like, I'm very pro-choice on this. And my personal belief, again, has no place in this conversation. I'm just putting it out there because I'll always allow... Like, it's not even allowed.
Yeah.
It's not my place.
Yeah.
Right?
But there should always be... Not one person should have more rights than another.
By aborting that baby... You've given more right to the mum than you have that baby.
Haven't.
Of course you have.
No, you haven't.
Because you've now removed
No,
that.
you haven't.
You
have. No, you haven't.
How?
Because you haven't given more right. Because the woman has that right to choose what to do with her.
I agree.
Her life.
I agree.
The baby has that right.
Well, it doesn't.
It does.
Because that baby hasn't got a right. It
does,
can't make a choice.
It can't make a choice because mentally it can't make that choice, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's got exactly the same right. You cannot stick a needle into that baby to make another baby survive. You can't do that.
Okay.
It's got exactly the same right. Every single human fetus baby has the same right up to when you die. But the way it's described is that the baby is now given more rights. I can't live with that, because once that happens, what's next? What's next? Can they come up to you, right? If you hit someone and they're bleeding on the ground, can they just all of a sudden plug the fucking needle into you and say, I need your blood now? And you can't say no.
I think we're taking, like, I don't know, bro. Personally, I just think that, like, if you're responsible enough, if you're responsible enough to get yourself in a position where you're pregnant, and again, I'm not talking about exceptional circumstance.
I don't want to hear that.
I'm not talking about exceptional circumstances. I'm not talking about, like, circumstances where it's, like, being forced or unwanted, unwarranted, like that, right?
Here's an example. Like a married couple fall pregnant, and then they decide to abort the baby. So you're meaning, like, those sorts of circumstances?
Yeah, things like that.
Where
a couple.
It's not rape, it's not a 16-year-old.
I don't know if we can say that word on YouTube.
Yeah, maybe not.
We can't say that word on YouTube. Yeah, gotta be
I don't know, they'll probably demonetize and they'll stop giving us the $3. But I know what you mean. But it even shouldn't be that. It doesn't matter. That's like saying,
no, but again,
you choose to drive and then you have an accident, right? And it's your fault because you chose to drive. That's not right.
But if you have an accident, it's your fault.
What if it's not?
If it's your fault?
What if someone hits you?
But again,
you chose to drive.
But again,
you chose to go on the road.
I'm not talking about, like, the R thing. I'm not talking about
but forget about the R thing. Like, we choose to have sex.
Yep.
Right?
You know the consequence might.
But you know the consequences. If you drive, someone might hit you.
Sometimes accidents happen. What are you going to do?
Okay, and again, if you're, like, strap up. Because, like, you know what I mean? Strap up. If you have an unprotected...
So what if you strap up
and it breaks?
Yeah, what if you strap up and someone hits you and you still hit
you've got an obsession with someone hitting you.
No, but in the car, what I'm saying is, you're saying that because you decide to do that thing, you have to take all the... No.
If you run into someone, you're responsible. If someone hits you, fair enough, that's different. That's what I mean. Like, if you're in control of the car...
But the same thing, because if you
it's not the same.
Yes, if you both decide to have sex, right?
Yep.
And then you happen to get pregnant because the pill didn't work or whatever, you're saying bad luck.
If you're taking precautions and all that, and it just happens like by accident, again, I'm pro-choice. But if you're not taking any precautions, which a lot of people aren't, they're doing.
But you can't screen that.
They're doing the pull-out game, right? I was the king of pull-out. Yeah, do you know what I mean? So like dodge and weave, you know, you got to dodge and weave it.
I got really good at it.
So like, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, this is a consequence. I just think...
But you know that, like, many things are a consequence. You going out knowing
but I'm not talking about other things.
Yeah, but you would never know anyway. Like, it's a bit... Is it irrelevant? Like, you're going to screen someone?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
What do you mean by screen someone?
Like you're going to say, oh, did you pull out? Or
you know. You should know.
No, I'm saying that when you're going for an abortion, you're not going to screen the couple.
No.
How did this happen? What happened?
No, but I'm not talking about like screening or anything. Again, I'm pro-choice. Everybody can do whatever they want. What I'm saying is, from my personal belief, is if you're like responsible or irresponsible enough to do it, knowing that could be a consequence, like at what point, all right, you have one abortion. Then you have two. Then you have three.
Yeah, you know, you're right. There's some people
and then at what point do you say, hang on a sec, man?
I need to get responsible. But that's where the education has to come in.
And of course, I think it all comes down to education by the end of this. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter how it happened, right? It doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter. You're taking away a right of a person. It's like what you're talking before about taking your rights, about looking at your phone. You're taking away those rights.
Which is why I'm pro-choice.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm pro-choice, and I keep my personal belief in my own relationships separate to...
And I do admit, like, you've always said that you're pro-choice. You've never said
100%.
that
I'm not anti-abortion like at all. But when it comes to me, in my circumstances, if I was to ever be in that situation, I would want, regardless of how we got there.
What you would want.
Yes, but it wouldn't. What I want wouldn't actually matter. It would be about what she.
You can't take away.
Right.
You can't take away a person's rights.
100%.
No.
100%.
And the baby.
Have we thought about like the implications of the person having the unwanted pregnancy?
Well, that's the other implication.
You talk about pro-life, like that is essentially pro-life as well for that person.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is why, again, I'm pro-choice, because I understand by putting women through all like these, like it would be traumatizing. I'm assuming.
Oh, it would be.
I don't know.
Like, don't get me. And I'll tell you one more thing about this. I know someone that's gone to have an abortion, like a friend of a friend, right? Not
a friend of a friend.
No, well, it is.
We dropped name dumb, Jackie.
And the worst thing that happened to her, and she had to do it for a medical reason, right? When she went to the abortion clinic, there were the protesters at the front bagging her, right? And I thought, that is fucking disgraceful.
It's filth. Absolutely.
You've got no idea the situation, none of your business, right? And a lot of them, let's be serious, a lot of them are religious reasons for that. And to me, you should keep state and church are separate from each other. Like, keep your own views, do not get involved, do not get in front of this thing. And you don't know what this girl's going through, right? What you've done is an absolute, it's worse almost than what she's doing, you know what I mean?
See, I know a girl who's had 3 abortions. So
well, that's education.
Is she using it as contraception?
Yes.
Well, that's education.
Pretty much. So, like,
yeah,
it's morning after
it's still
pills.
Her choice.
It's morning after pills, like M&M's.
Morning after pill?
No, I'm not just. I'm talking. She's had 3 abortions.
Actual abortions. Not morning after pill.
And then, however many times she's had morning after pills, where she's had to go to different pharmacies because they stopped giving it to her because You can't keep taking them. Like apparently they're bad for you.
And there's something.
So like,
it sounds like there's something wrong with her.
Well, maybe, right?
Maybe it's got to be.
Maybe
education's got to get involved.
Education.
But do you know what I mean? Like.
We're going to start an education.
Again, maybe we should start a school. Maybe we educate people.
Telling you, the unfiltered, everyone comes out like they're stars, mate.
I don't know, man. I just think, again, my personal belief, and I don't judge others. Like, it's weird. I don't judge others because I don't care what other people do. They don't pay my bills, and I've made it like a point in my life to not care what other people do with their own lives and bodies.
Yeah.
But when I say my personal belief, it's for me and what I go through. So if I was ever in that position, I'd definitely put my opinion forward that, look, I think we should keep the kid.
Yeah, and that's fair enough.
belief.
That's fair enough.
But again, I think
it should never be legalized.
Right? It's not that we're keeping the kid. I would never take that choice away from my partner. It would be her choice ultimately.
My whole stance on this is it's not about like what you believe or what you feel, because we can't change that, right? That's
and we have no place as well as men. Like, I'll reiterate and I'll stand on that point.
I think we have a place to discuss it.
No. But to make legislation over it?
Well, I don't think there should be legislation.
Well, yeah.
There shouldn't be. There should be no. Because what you're doing is you're making legislation over giving one person more rights than the next.
And who makes the legislation?
Well, like the government.
What sort of people
men.
Pretty much are running
old men. Well, it's old
pretty
men.
much still.
And it's old men.
Are you kidding me?
Right?
That's right.
Old men.
White, old men.
I don't want to hear the old men.
We got another.
We've got a lot thanks to old white men.
We've got now.
We can't get into that.
PJ Veda, 2009. Thanks again. Look, the meaning of abortion is murder. Again, you can say that, and I'm telling you, you're poisoning the well by doing that. I don't like it. Like, it's not fair. You wouldn't say to any woman, like most women, I wouldn't say most women, I reckon women that are having abortions, not all of them, you wouldn't dare go up to them and say, you murdered your child, right? But many circumstances why they've had to go and do it and that. Like, the word murder, execute and that, I'm telling you, it's just, if you want to have a serious conversation.
I know, this is a very...
these words
it's a heavy topic, definitely.
And there's no right or wrong.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong. Don't get me wrong.
What about the woman that, is forced to have the child, because that's what legislation says, and then she suicides as a result?
So what happens there?
Well, that's why, again...
This education, we got to educate people.
And, she would already be more prone to postnatal depression, and then a whole lot of other implications.
And then what happens to that kid?
Well...
Like
you know that trauma
kid goes up to rob me at the bottle. That's what happens to the kid.
100%. Well, trauma starts in the womb. There's a lot of research that supports that.
Yeah.
Well, again, that's why I'm so pro-choice. Like
100% it should be.
It's just I think everybody's beliefs should be personal, right? Like, it should be circumstantial. I think
circumstantial
to you. And shouldn't be enforced on anyone
I'm not
else.
reading out your messages, right? He knows what I'm talking about, but he's a good bloke, Sam. But I'm not reading out your messages. But to me, it's simple. No, I'll say this a million times. No person should have more rights than another person. I don't care what gender you are. I don't care what sex you are. I don't care what race you are. Everyone isn't equal. I've always said this, but everyone should be treated equal, right?
We'll have equal rights.
We're treated equal, have equal rights, right? Everybody. And that's the other question. People go like, life. When does life begin? Like, no one knows.
Oh my God, this question.
No one knows. No one knows. Everyone says from conception
they actually
to
don't
heartbeat. To when it's got a brain, when it takes its first breath. Like in the Bible, it actually says life starts on the first breath. So everyone's got their own idea, but there is no.
But I think we should have strict guidelines with
and
abortion.
There is. I think there is
first trimester is.
I think is at the 24-week mark, whatever mark it is. My opinion, which means nothing because I'm a male, is this.
No, I think your opinions are valid as males.
Everyone should have a right to do whatever they want with their body, but when it gets to a certain point, because we've got to have a point.
Why?
Why?
Yeah, I don't know about that either. I think
once the baby can like
I think first trimester
be looked after without the mother, maybe, I don't know if I'm right or wrong about this, maybe why can't you give birth to it and then incubator adoption if that's the case? Like there's got to be
I think there has to be like special circumstances to have a late abortion.
Yeah.
Like I think first trimester is when you need to make the decision.
Well, that's what I mean. I think there should be a point where they go, right, the abortion isn't the option
like the
anymore.
disability thing or something like that.
You don't want the baby anymore, that's fine.
See, I don't know if even like a disability thing, like for me personally,
yeah, but Andy, what life would that be? Like a severe disability, what life would that be for you and for the child?
I get that, but...
Yeah, I know it's unfiltered, man.
We can't say that word.
Oh, we can't say that word. We can't say it, man. Like, unfiltered, brother.
Yeah.
Sherry, that's it.
You just said that. Oh, that one there, that word. Can't say that word.
Can't say that word.
They'll take us off. There's 2 words we can't say. 3. Can't say the C word either.
No,
Can you?
You can't say it. I don't think you can say the R word. You can't say the C word.
I need education.
You can't say the T word. You can't say the other C word.
Oh.
Which one?
The disease.
Can't you?
I'm pretty sure you can't.
Nah,
oh yeah, I'm pretty sure they shadow ban you. I think if you say it repeatedly, they shadow ban you.
Oh, I could say.
It's all
You could give me the heads up.
See, Andy. See, it's censoring over everything. What we say, what we do, what we hear, what we can do.
They said it's just for 16-year-olds. Wait till they block us from accessing things until we're 25. Until we're 30, until we're 35, until we're 40. Like I said, if they gave a shit about its people, they would have fixed up a lot of other things first. That's my thing. Yeah, the abortion is a heavy topic.
It's
right?
and
the other thing is, like, first of all, again, I'll keep saying them. You can't. Soon as you go down that road where you give one person more rights than another, it opens up can of worms.
See, I disagree that you're giving more rights to someone than not. I disagree with that.
How?
Well, I understand what you're saying. Like, I get it.
No, wait. How do you disagree with that? Because you're giving the baby the right to use another body.
But that's it's like...
And more right. I understand the more right. Because if you can't.
I disagree. I disagree.
But you can't.
If you're making
you might disagree, but you can't disagree with what I'm saying.
I can disagree. I disagree with it.
No, you can't, because it's absolutely... No, what I'm saying is absolutely right.
But you're not.
You are.
You're not.
You are.
I just don't think you are.
But you are. How can... You're trying to say, how is the baby got the same rights as the mother?
I think you're taking rights away from one.
No, you're not.
You are. You're either taking rights away from one or the other.
No, you haven't taken a right.
You are.
No, you're not.
Because you're saying that fetus doesn't have a right to live. It doesn't have the choice. Doesn't have the choice to live.
I'm not saying that.
You are. You've taken that.
What I'm saying is that fetus hasn't the right to use your body, just like everywhere else in the world.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I disagree.
Well, it's not. I don't know. You're given. Everyone's got the same rights.
And I think by allowing the mother to make the choice.
It's like saying I'm going to plug into you. Right.
Yeah, but it's not, because this is a fetus. This is within the person.
So what?
So like it's a life within the person.
So what? Just say then. All right. Just say then that fetus needs to be plugged into to the woman for the rest of its life. Mm-hmm. Well, where do we stop then? Does she have to then?
Well, we stop at the first trimester, don't we?
Yeah.
No. What I'm saying, you're saying, if just say this fetus, right? They do this miraculous. They find out that the only way for it to grow is it has to be attached by a tube to the mother for the rest of its life.
Yeah.
Can they do that?
I don't know. That's
what do you mean, I don't know?
I don't know.
Would that be right? And the mother goes, but I don't want that.
Well, then she's got the choice, right?
Her choice.
She's got the choice.
So why? What's the difference?
So you've just it's weird because you just made up a scenario. So like
I know that was a bit like
yeah.
No, but I know I made up, and I only made it up to emphasise.
And like that's an extreme scenario.
To make it an extreme.
But it's kind of different because, again, I hate having to repeat this. I am pro-choice, But you can't say that you're not taking away a right from the unborn child.
No.
You are. You're taking away a right.
No, because
child's
if you need a kidney,
but that child,
if you need a kidney, I might, and no one's given it to you. Am I taking the right away from you?
I understand what you're saying. You're saying you're taking away the right of that child to
live.
survive.
Yeah.
But if you need a kidney, am I taking the right away from you to survive if no one gives you the kidney?
No, no one gives me the kidney.
Well, no one's giving you the fetus, the blood.
Yeah, but that's different.
But I feel like, yeah, I don't know.
It's very complicated because it's always, I understand that it's always a baby involved. I do understand that. And it's very complicated. But you've got to get down to the core of this. You can't give one more right than another, and that's exactly what you've done.
Well, I think the baby can't survive without the mother, and that's the reason it needs to be her choice.
Well, what if it comes out a minute later and needs a kidney? Do you have to give the baby a kidney?
What, don't they have to try it? I don't know. I don't know how it works.
No, unless they find it.
But anyway, what I'm saying is, right?
But what I'm saying is, what's the difference?
Hang on. Exactly. What's the difference? You've just taken. So you've taken rights.
So what's the difference between 1 minute inside the uterus and the next minute?
Hang on a second. Hey, I'm not talking about that. All I'm saying is that you can't say that you haven't taken rights away from that child. If you're saying that you've taken rights away from the mother in forcing her to give the child, then you've taken rights away from the child.
No, because you haven't got that right.
What right?
You haven't got that right to live. Like, you haven't got that right. At the end of the day, if you need a kidney, right? And
why are you obsessed with kidneys?
Because I'm just giving you an example. I'm just saying, there's people that died that haven't got kidneys. Like, my mum had dialysis for 10 years, right? But what I'm saying is, or a heart. Let's say a heart, a lung, whatever.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is,
you haven't got
that right. You haven't got that right to live. You have not got that right. You have not got that right to use any other person.
It's not a right.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely. You just said it's not.
Yeah, you haven't got that right.
I'm agreeing with you.
You haven't got that right to use any other person.
Yeah, I just think that you're taking the child's right from living.
No.
You are.
But you haven't got that right either.
I have a choice. I have a right to live.
No, you don't. Like, if you need a kidney.
Yeah,
and you'll pick a body part.
Alright, just stay with the kidney. It's alright.
I think kidney's the easiest thing, right? If you need a kidney, you can't turn around and go, Rock, he has to give me that kidney.
Absolutely not.
Right, or your mum, or even your mum.
You're right.
Now say, listen, you're my mum. I need to survive.
I understand.
So what's the difference when it's inside the thing?
Because it's inside the mother.
So what?
So all I'm saying is, again, I'm not saying you're wrong.
Yeah.
Or about like the choice thing. What I'm saying is, you can't say that you haven't taken away a right. Because that child would have been living.
But no one's got that right. You can't take away something.
You're saying that the child hasn't got.
The child hasn't got that right, the same as you haven't got that right.
Yeah,
you haven't taken away a right.
I disagree. You have taken away a right.
You haven't.
Okay, but I think you have.
You haven't.
But I think you have.
How can you take it away right that no one's got?
Because that child would have grown.
And you would have survived if your mum gave you the kidney.
But that child doesn't need a kidney. That child doesn't need any.
I'm just giving you the kidney.
I understand that. But I'm giving you that example.
But
there's nothing wrong with that child in the stomach.
It is.
Well,
there is something wrong with it. Because if it's not connected to you, it won't live.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. But again, this goes back to my personal belief that abortion is wrong. My personal belief. Right?
I'm not saying about the personal belief like...
So this is why we're coming at it from two different points of view.
Personal belief,
I don't think
what you believe is what you believe.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing about that. What I'm saying is, all I'm talking about is human rights. It's as simple as human rights. You have got no right to use another body, and you have got no right to live.
Okay.
You've got no right to live. You have got no right to live. You can't sit there and say, I need to live.
But no one is in control. No one is in control of you living or dying.
There is if you need a kidney.
But He's stuck on this kidney.
All right, there is if
But
you need a heart.
if this fucking
But
child,
there is if you need a heart.
but if this child, there's nothing wrong with it, right?
But there is, because it can't live without you.
Yeah.
It can't live without your body.
I understand what you're saying. I just disagree.
Yeah, all right, you can disagree.
I
That's it.
understand what you're both
Clearly,
saying. You're saying it's the child's right, and you're saying
No,
basically...
the child hasn't got that right.
I think it does.
It doesn't.
Okay, but it does.
Got that right.
All right, you can't agree. Don't worry about it.
We're not going to agree on this, and that's fine.
You
That's
can't-
why
What
I'm pro-
about-
How can you take away a right that no one has?
But it does have a right.
It doesn't, because you haven't got that right.
But I haven't got a right to survive if there's something wrong with me, right? Or if there's nothing. But this I don't want to talk about
There
this
is
anymore.
something wrong with the baby. It's not developed. It's not living on its. It's not sustaining its own life on its own.
Anyway,
Soon as it can live on its
I'm
own.
pro-choice. I'm pro-choice.
Pro-choice, just your
That's it.
personal
I'm
opinion.
pro-choice,
What about
but-
religion?
What about?
Oh, here we go.
So, do you think that...
Atheist.
I'm an
No, in
atheist.
terms of abortion,
Yeah.
do you think, like I was reading some stats earlier today, 98% of Catholic women use contraception? Like, do you think we need to get a bit more progressive in the abortion contraception
Definitely the
area?
What do you mean?
definitely the
Like
contraception.
being-
Isn't that a
Pro-
good thing that they're using
Yeah,
contraception?
but according to the religion, you're
It's
not
wrong.
supposed
Yeah,
to.
Yeah,
of
you
course.
can't use.
Yeah,
You can't
Yeah,
use.
I mean, there's
Yeah,
a lot
yeah,
of
okay.
subgroups now
Yeah.
within
The
religions.
problem is with
that,
religion. There's so many there's so many versions of it. Like just the Catholic, there's 1,000 different versions. So who believes what is who knows what, you know? With the contraception, again, like
and abortion, both those
Oh, well,
topics
abortion.
within the.
well, the funny thing is about the abortions, the actual Bible tells you how to have
It
an
doesn't
abortion.
mention abortion.
It does tell you.
Yeah, but it doesn't use the term.
No, it won't use the term abortion, but what does it use? If they think that the woman's
Killing?
been,
Killing? What's it use?
No, well, it says if they think that the woman's done adultery, right? So if the Bible says if they suspect, if the man suspects that the woman has adultery, doesn't make sense.
Has committed adultery.
Has
Has committed
committed.
adultery, you must feed him. You must give him a contraption of water and mud, and then if the baby, if she aborts, or it doesn't say abort, but if the baby aborts, then she has committed adultery. If the baby survives, then she was
no.
innocent. So it does tell you a way to do it. So I think again, state and religion should be separate.
Agreed.
Yeah,
There should
agreed.
be nothing
Agree
to
with
do.
that.
Like this is like a, as far as contraception,
Yeah.
as far as abortion, and that should have nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? Because there's so many different religions, so many different ideas, so many different other things. What's right and what's
each
wrong?
individual state deciding.
What's that?
Each individual state deciding on the abortion.
Well, that's what's happening in
That's
America.
crazy.
That's what's
Actually,
happening in
our
America.
states have got
Our states do
different.
the
Have
same
they?
thing.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
I
they
think
do.
it's legal in every state except
The problem-
one, I think.
Yeah, I
Is it
think
Tassie?
so.
No, I think it's legal. I think
I
it's
think
legal.
The
it's legal
problem
across
is
the board.
with these states and that and
But access
another thing is
isn't.
like legalizing, not legalizing abortion or whatever it is. Women are just going to go and do it. That's the
Yeah, but what's the scary thing about that is instead of going to clinics, they're going to go to
no.
backyard
But
jobs.
this is what the bad thing is. So it's
And
better
that's-
that you have
Yeah,
that
yeah, of
access
course.
than not have it. So this
course.
thing that it should be illegal and that is bullshit. You know what I mean? Like because a woman, a girl that really wants it is going to go and do it.
Oh, definitely.
You know what I mean? They're not going to stop. And a lot of them are, the reasons for doing it are like, they're scared, you know, like families, you know what I mean?
Culture
Like, so to me, like, it's ridiculous. This state thing, it should just be,
A uniform.
why is it
Legislation.
okay?
because you'll just go to another state. Or they'll go, like in America, they'll just go to Mexico, you know what I mean? Like,
Why is it an issue that the states decide? Again, like I don't think they should.
Because I think
But
it
from a
causes
woman's
so
point
much
of view-
confusion. I think we kind of need to just get on board.
Everyone.
And, yeah.
as a-
do you
as a-
think
Yeah.
that, you know how America's doing
Because
that?
then,
Do you
know,
think that you're just passing the buck? like as far as the leader goes, you're passing the buck now. You're going, you know what?
Just
I don't want to get involved. You decide whatever you want.
But the thing is, it was already decided. It was already like a legislation, and then that got overturned.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I'm pro guns, yeah. So like, I'm pro choice. I'm pro everything, man. Do whatever you want.
This is what I mean.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think after all this, at the end of the day, like we should not be. And again, now you're going to argue about that you're taking away a right. But you shouldn't be taking any rights away from people, because soon as that happens, you fucking like, it just opens up a can of worms, man. Mm-hmm. And then one thing like, there's another $7.99, he's full on, man. He reckons, where was the people's choice being forced with COVID?
Don't say the word.
Oh my goodness.
Can't say that word.
With the CVAX, I already said it, double standards, of course, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so, when you look at that, like, we did have a choice, but...
What about long COVID now?
It was the illusion of choice, wasn't it?
Yes, you had the choice, but then
you didn't really
other
have
circumstances for your work.
You want to work? You want to go see? You want to go see your sick parents?
You had a choice not to do it, but then you just don't.
Yeah, but not really.
Mm.
You had a choice, but
they made the illusion of a choice. Yeah, very interesting.
What about long COVID? That's a real problem.
We can't say the word.
Oh my goodness.
Got to be careful with that word.
Long C.
Oh well, they've probably already banned us like 20 times here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that whole thing was cooked, to say the least.
They all know it. Like, everyone agrees with it now. It was all cooked. It was all wrong. It was all a conspiracy. It was all a delusion. Like, what we went through. Like, is it almost like a dream when you think back at it?
We were actually, like, we had a curfew.
We weren't allowed out the house. Like, when you think about that.
Yeah. Imagine trying to tell.
Is it a setup for the next one?
Well, that's the thing, yeah.
Oh no, that's next level.
It's never, but hang on. Hey, it's never just what they tell you it is. That's what I've learned. And again, that's my conspiracy hat on and whatever. I got zero trust in government. I got zero trust in like anyone in a position of power. Honestly, everything is also sinister. Everything is there's always an underlining sinister thing happening in the background. I just don't trust. I don't know.
Peter Bluebagger has been a member for 20 months.
You get
Peter Bluebagger been a member for 20 months. He's a star, Peter Bobblehead Bluebagger. He's a Polo member, and this is why government needs to make adoption more accessible. Maybe. That's
really hard.
That's really
adoption
hard.
Well, they make that really hard. Yeah, they make it really. And look, I get it. I get why it needs to be like so stringent, but yeah, you need to. It should be more accessible.
I think a lot of women that choose to have abortion may not necessarily even want to go through with the pregnancy. You know, if we're talking about shame or we're talking about
if they've chosen to have an abortion, they've
I don't know that there would be a high amount of women that would choose abortion.
I mean, if you've gone through that whole like pregnancy, I can imagine it would be just as hard to make the choice of abortion, maybe even harder to like.
Oh, look, let's not.
Yeah, and are we saying abortion as a choice? Like, what's the comment relating to? Like,
interesting.
Do you know what I mean?
What's that? Which comment?
The adoption comment.
Needs to be more.
Like,
well, maybe
he's saying in place, like, you know.
No. Well, I just think. I don't know what he's saying, but I think he's saying like it should be more accessible. Like, I don't know if how that makes it.
More promoted, but still pro-choice.
Well, there's plenty of I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. Explain to us, Peter. But
it's crazy. It's crazy. Crazy.
You know, the best thing is, I'm telling you, this show, this is like the Joe Rogan of Australia, right? This is a show that we just talk about these things. The thing is, like, we've had these discussions before and we'll have them again, and we got Nadia on. There's nothing wrong with having these. What I hate is people that don't want to have these discussions or turn away. Like, I think the problem with this world a lot of the time is because people don't talk, and we just can't solve anything. Like, and if more people just sat and talked, right? Like, and the other thing
communication.
Communicate, and the other thing is not only just talk and listen, right? But go in there not with an agenda, like with an open mind. You know what I mean? Because you know what, I might be wrong. Very rare, but
you
I
are
might be
all the time.
The kidney.
You know what I'm telling you, man. I just want to say, man, those kidneys, man, they're out there. Everyone needs one.
And you know what? Talking then helps to like form your identity and your opinions, and I think you contribute differently to society, to your relationships. So it takes you out of that overdrive.
I think it's great. I think more people. Look, the older I get, it's one of the things I enjoy now, sitting down and just talking about stuff. You know what I mean? Like I've done everything, man. Like I've done all those things, and it doesn't interest me anymore. You know what I mean? Just sitting back, learning new things. I'm always wanting to learn new things. You know, like I'll go down rabbit holes. You know what I mean? Like I'll go down rabbit holes and try to learn as much as possible. You know, and communicate. Yeah, and this, I reckon, this show's all right. Like we can just have a chat.
Just have a chat and argue and
what about,
disagree. And
we didn't talk about the men's health topic.
What about it?
You know what you were telling me on the phone the other day?
Which one?
About when you caught up with your mates and you realised there was some commonalities.
Well, men don't talk about their health. That's the one big issue I found. And I was talking to someone and he goes, oh, you should start a podcast like over 60s and talk about like the problems the over 60s have, you know. And then he was going like, I wake up like 20 times a night. And I go, I wake up 20 times a night. He goes, yeah, me too. And you go like, far out, like we've all got the same problems here, man. Like, and it's true. I don't think men talk enough about this stuff, man. And the problem is that you don't talk about it, and then all of you think you're the only one.
Yeah.
And does that come down to the masculine characteristics?
100%.
Well, it's funny because
100% it is.
When I was a bit younger, I used to feel shit all the time. Like I was getting like this weird feeling, right? Where I thought, fuck, I think I'm gonna die. I think I'm having a heart attack, and like, you know, all this stuff was happening, and I was going through a lot at the time. And I didn't tell anyone. I was just fucking copping it every day, you know, and it was like really, it was happening a lot.
How old are you?
Probably 27, 28.
Oh, all right.
Right? And I was just like, just this overwhelming feeling would hit me, and it was like, happen a lot, like 3-4 times a day, where I think, fuck, I think I'm dying. Like, you know, this is like actually happening. So I kind of have to like detach and walk off and do all that. And I didn't speak to anyone, I didn't tell anyone. Probably dealt with it every day for maybe 3 years. And then one day, like a friend of mine was just telling me, fuck man, you know, I've been feeling like this lately, and
Me too.
And he's telling me everything. I'm like, bro, I feel like that too. He goes, bro, go see a fucking psychologist, psychiatrist, whatever. He goes, trust me, man, you got to talk it out. Because like I was doing my bloods, I was doing everything, and everything was fine. Right? I didn't understand.
You thought it was like physical something.
I thought, fuck, like I'm dying, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I thought, you know. And it turned out that I was just having panic attacks and just like heavy anxiety. And like I didn't know.
So how'd that get fixed?
I still do therapy. Like, you know, years later, therapy is the greatest thing in the world. Like I recommend every single person do therapy. Like,
This is therapy.
it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, like it's actual therapy, right? I was. It's something that I had to really work through, and still am working through. Like they're not as prevalent anymore.
But you didn't identify that you were having.
Nah, I just thought I was dying. You know,
like palpitations.
I was getting the sweats. I was getting like waking up in the middle of the night. Just
and
like,
you didn't talk to anyone
I
about
didn't talk to anyone because we don't talk about it.
How do you deal with it now?
Honestly, it's understanding what it is, and just letting it.
So you get anxiety,
like manage the symptoms,
and panic attacks. Is
Not
that
so much panic attacks anymore, thank God.
But more
they're
anxiety.
horrible,
So
but
explain the anxiety. Like, how does it feel?
When the anxiety hits, it's like it's hard to explain, man, because there's like 1,000 things happening. Right?
Are you worried about something? Like, what's going on?
Nah, see, for me, there was no particular trigger. Right? There was nothing that would like happen, and It would just happen. It was just, you know what it was? It was the thought of knowing what it's like and it happening again would make it happen again.
So the anxiousness of it reoccurring.
Exactly. Because it was really intense, man. Like 2-3 times. Once I worked out what it was, I still like checked myself into hospital because I thought, fuck, like, this is pretty bad. Like I think I'm having a heart attack, you know? And it got to a point where it's so weird. I remember like not leaving the house for like 2 weeks. I couldn't. I couldn't mentally leave the house for like 2 weeks. And I can't believe I'm saying this on camera. This is fucking wild. but
good for you.
Yeah,
but you know why I'm asking? Like maybe you can help someone. Maybe I get, because I think I get anxiety. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking you. What does it feel like? Like what's going on? You know? Do you even know?
Yeah, it's. I think people get it differently. I think there's just different symptoms. Like for me, it was just the heart palpitations. You got the weird feeling in your stomach, and then you got like it's just noise in your head. Right?
And now do you have strategies on when that comes on?
Yeah, now it's just kind of understanding what it is, letting it kind of
play out.
Just let it go. It's gonna pass. Yeah. It always passes. Just let it go. But yeah, I remember like sitting at home for 2 weeks. I couldn't leave my fucking room.
Yeah.
Right. Like it was bad. And like the thought of going out would like make me feel weird. It was just like I can't go.
You want to sleep?
No, I was scared to sleep because I think fuck I'm gonna die, right? Like you're so irrational. You're so irrational with what you're thinking. And I remember this is so like bad to say, but I actually remember thinking like I don't even know if I can say this word,
but just use the.
But I can like. I understand why people check out.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Right.
You know what? That's a good way of putting it.
I get it. It's like
how bad it can get.
I get this. Like, bro, some people, like in my head, I was telling myself, some people deal with this every day for years on end.
Yep.
And it's this bad.
All right, very good.
Right? And I was like, I get it. Like, I get it. It's weird. I kind of knew I would never do it.
But you understand
why. But I understood why.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like
how bad it can get.
Yeah, and it got to a point for me where I was like, I started to get those like, hang on a sec, if I'm justifying it, it's a pretty scary place to be in. So I had to kind of pull myself back a bit and just remind myself, and you said a word before, just gratitude, and just to be grounded again and just be thankful, you know, every day. So yeah, it's heavy, man. It's
How amazing that you just shared that.
No, I don't know about amazing, but
that's amazing.
You know,
it's weird.
I understand because I went through a period of my life where, you know, when you just said, I understand why people check out, I went through that.
Yeah.
So I understand. I can't justify it at times, but I understand why, because what you said was absolutely what I went through, right? I thought to myself, if someone has to go through this every day, it gets too much.
Yeah.
You just don't want to deal with it anymore.
Yeah.
And when I asked about sleeping, I wanted to sleep. Because the only time I got peace was when I was sleeping.
Yeah.
So I slept a lot just to not feel that feeling. I mean, it probably was anxiety now thinking about it. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was depression. You know what I mean? It probably was full on depression, and I would sleep like I'm telling. All I wanted to do was sleep, and then every time I wake up, like the pain started again.
Yeah.
And you get that point where you're just thinking about that checking out, like it starts entering your mind.
Yeah.
And then and I come to that theory where I understand, like I can never judge someone for doing something, but then I would understand, because if someone went through this day in, day out, for months and
I don't think
years,
anyone can be judged when they get to that point. Like they're not well to get to that point.
Yeah, it was weird. It was horrid. Yeah, it was horrid. And like I said,
and you actually got someone to help you.
Well, yeah, thank God that
so it was prompted by that friend.
Yeah, that friend that told me that he was feeling all this.
But did family and friends notice your behaviour?
Maybe.
Notice you being withdrawn?
Maybe. But I was on my own a lot anyway.
Yeah.
So like, Maybe. No one really verbalised anything, which is completely fine. Like, I wasn't really reaching out to anyone anyway. But that's the thing, like, we don't reach out.
We don't reach often.
Right? Whereas now, I kind of make it a point to reach out to certain friends who I know deal with things, right? And man, all you need sometimes... Was that
another masculinity kind of thing that you
absolutely I'm interested in that. Like,
I'm not going to talk to anyone. No, bro.
We don't do it.
I felt weak. I felt weak.
Now, like, I've matured now. Like, I've grown so I can do it, and he seems to have matured a lot earlier than when I was your age, you know what I mean? But we seem to be, but as I said, growing up a certain way, you know what I mean? Like, we got no choice. We've been brought up like that. Like people go, like, you know what I hate when people, like, this new generation ODs me, right? Because they want us to change. And you've got to change now. And if you say something, they look at you like, oh, look at you, you're evil. Man, it's 50 years that I've been living like this, and you want me to change overnight. How about you be a bit more sympathetic to us and understand that we can't change overnight? Like you, and then you speak like to even the older people, like someone like my dad, who's rest in peace and that, like, man, he lived a certain way. And then you come along and go,
I think each generation needs to be respected.
Like, I don't think the young generation respect it.
You know, like the older generation, you need to respect.
But
like,
do you think sometimes
journey?
the young generation like understand that what we've been through, and we can't just like the way you want to live now with your genders and all that, you know what I mean? Whatever. I think we're doing great in accepting it. I think we're fantastic. We should be given awards. How quickly we accept it. But how about you look at us now and go, far out, what have they been through? And now all of a sudden we want them to change, man. Like, think about it, people. Yeah, I understand. Maybe a lot of the things we did were wrong. We understand that, but we need time to change.
That's the thing. I think understanding people, understanding their journey, their time in life, I think that respect.
But you get that as you get older. Like, you understand that now. You know what I mean? I think
but teach your kids, have those conversations.
No, I think I'm trying to teach my kids, but I don't think a lot of, not a lot, but I'm saying there's a fair amount of people out there.
How to.
They probably don't know how to. You know what,
they never,
back to the education.
Because they never, like a lot of people, like they never put their hands up and said, listen, I went through this or I went through that. You just did it.
This is what I was saying before about masculine, feminine roles. I think in terms of the woman, the way they can support a man in relationships is nurturing that side.
100%.
You know, 100%. Definitely. Because
and understand also, like, I think we try to understand, well, I can only speak about me, about the woman and how she is and the emotional and what we got to do. I don't think a lot of women understand what the guy goes through. And this is why I think you're always inquisitive about, like, how... Yeah. But because we have got pressures on us. Like, as much as you go, like, oh, you know, like, it's we both, like, you know, pay the bills and that, deep inside of me, I can only talk about me. I have to look after everyone. And you can't take that out of me. I look after everybody. Even people I'm not with anymore. Yeah. Like, I still look after them. Because I can't. I've got to look after. I've got to make sure everyone's all right. I've got to make sure the kid's all right. I've got to make sure when your girlfriend's all right. Her family's all right. No.
No?
You?
Yeah, I'm
but kind of, because I had it's a long story. Yeah. Kind of, but and I got my younger sister,
Yeah.
Kind of.
So I got two half brothers.
Did you get the kidney?
Oh, they would have given it to me. Nah, I got two.
He had no right.
Well, my mum had no right. She had dialysis for 10 years. So let's not get into that.
What have you got?
Two half brothers that I don't talk to anymore.
I just want to give Enzo a shout out.
Yeah, give Enzo a shout out. I saw that.
I tune in, you guys are actually talking about something I'm currently going through. I put my hand up and finally ask for help. Step one done. Enzo, pat yourself on the back, because that is the biggest move you'll ever make 100%. In your life, mate.
Definitely.
And we know Enzo personally, because he's been on the show and that. And Enzo, if you ever need someone to talk to, you got my number, man. Like, or you got Andy.
Hit me up, mate.
Nadia will talk to you if she has to.
Definitely will talk.
No, I'm telling you, this is we're all a big family. Also to Paul. He says, "Hey, Rocco and Andy, love the show. Being a Collingwood supporter, I still watch you guys as much as I can." That's pretty good for a Collingwood supporter.
I'll take it. My Uncle Sam.
Oh, what's going on here, mate? Don't even say that.
What are you?
Collingwood.
Far out. I didn't know.
I didn't know this.
Me either.
I kept that quiet, didn't I?
Far out. That's a disgrace.
I want to give my Uncle Sam a shout
Yeah,
out.
he's been like going
Andy,
flatter.
do you think Carlton is the reason for that? I'll tell you what.
I'll tell you what, man. They don't
They
fucking
have
help.
not
That's a
helped.
bit
They
harsh.
don't fucking help, man. I'm
The
telling
amount
you,
of
man.
panic attacks I've had at games.
Fuck, man.
God.
The amount of depression, like the amount of days I'm depressed,
No,
like from
As a
Carlton,
result of Carlton?
Yeah.
Wow.
it's not good.
it gets to
That's
you.
full
Right?
on.
Hey, but seriously, if anyone watching, I mean,
No, 100%. And this is what we do, man.
if you're going through anything, honestly, just like reach out to
out.
someone.
reach out.
To anyone. Just reach out, speak about it. You'd be surprised how many people are actually dealing with things that you're also dealing
100%,
with.
man.
If my mate never came up to me, I'll probably still be fucking
I found that
hiding in a dark room.
I find that you're rarely the only one that ever goes through whatever you
definitely.
go through. There's like 100 people that you know that are going through the same thing, you know what I mean? But again, with a man, like as I said, the way I brought up, I can't show emotion either.
Do you think as well, you know, like we need to get healthier as a society? Like if we're better looking after ourselves.
What, in just everything?
Like physically, our health.
Physically, definitely.
Yeah.
If you're not physically healthy, right, how can your mind be healthy?
Like exercise, diet.
100%.
We said the gratitude,
100%.
even journaling, meditation, you know, all those things.
100%.
Really taking some
The
time.
other thing is, so you know, like with exercise and like, you know, you're in the fitness you are in the fitness industry there. Even you do your own little personal workouts and that, like, you know, when you achieve something, like the pleasure you get out of it, even if it's a
but also
small
just
set
the
or whatever.
endorphins, the increase in serotonin, it's like a natural antidepressant. So that can't be underestimated.
100%.
There's so much that you can do and be proactive in terms of addressing these issues. The
As I
food
said-
that you consume, alcohol, smoking, you know, all those habits that contribute to poor mental health.
Yeah, 100%.
Trauma, you know, if there's traumas that are undealt with, they often lead to these, you know, situations.
This is a good segue.
All right, let's do the segue.
So, our weekly.
Oh, yeah.
First of all,
Did you listen to Kanye?
all right, I'm going to talk.
Did you listen to Kanye?
I did. You know me, I listened to your records, and I have to say this, was saying this off camera before, that I'm happy the way that Andy's come into this part of my life with the music, because I can get stuck in the 80s forever. And as you can see from my album,
Prince.
well, I love it.
And
yeah.
Wham.
But he's brought me into the thing, and listen to Kanye there, and I said I don't like him, right, because of his personal, the way he acts sometimes, or things he says, it gets on my nerves, you know what I mean? And so, listen, so I was kind of like a little bit off his music, but you gave me the records, and I said, right, I'm going to listen to this with an open like mind, and I have to admit, like, I understand why you say it's your favourite, one of your favourite albums.
Did you listen to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sonically
I'm gonna
a
listen to
masterpiece.
Yeah, you got to listen to both of them. We'll give you the names of the album.
albums.
But so I did listen to them, and I listened to them from front to back. I sat there, listened to it, and
What do you think of the 808 album?
That's the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually, in a way, I like that almost more.
Yeah.
For some reason, you know what I mean?
It's bare.
Yeah.
It's stripped.
It's good. It is really good. And now, I know he's a musical genius, but I kind of let his other things get in the way,
which is easy to do.
Kind of upset me, you know. Like, and now I went back to, you know what? I just want to listen to his music. I don't care what he does. I don't care who he marries.
Yeah.
Like, it shouldn't really matter. It's just his thing. And I have to admit, I have to thank you. I've really enjoyed it. I really did enjoy the thing.
Good.
So
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Well, this is actually one of Kanye's proteges, right?
Oh, you were talking about
this guy is Kid Cudi.
Yep.
This guy is... We were talking about depression, anxiety, and all that. You click on any Kid Cudi song on YouTube and read the comments, you'll have hundreds of people telling him, you saved my life.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
This album saved my life. You've
had a few albums that have changed your life, haven't you?
This one saved my life.
Really?
Yeah. This one came out in 2010, and it saved my life in many ways that I could never even like convey. But this album is depression. This album is anxiety. This album is mortality. It's immortality. It's drugs. It's dark.
Does it tell a story from front to back?
Kind of.
Yep.
Yeah, kind of. So this is his second studio album. His first album was called Man on the Moon.
Was that any good?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, Man on the Moon 1. This is Man on the Moon 2.
Are they both produced or like involved with Kanye?
Yeah, so Kid Cudi was signed to Kanye's label. Kid Cudi, it's funny. So Kanye is one of the most influential artists ever. Kid Cudi is probably the most influential to I'd say maybe 60% of current hip hop.
Really?
Yeah. In regards to content, in regards to subject matter. He was the first one to talk about feelings, about to really get introspective and to talk about those dark thoughts. No one was ever talking about, being stuck in a hotel room. Like he's got a line which is just so like real. I'm not going to rap it, but I'll just say it. He goes, "My mum's calling, think I should hit decline. I'm numb-faced while I'm thinking about," like being in that mental state, in a hotel room, like partying. There's a party around you, and that's what this album is. It's a party around him, but he's so alone. And it's,
you see by the picture.
It's so like, yeah, it's got a lot of
drug users would be in that scenario.
I could probably tell you maybe 10, 15 people I know who weren't even drug users being in that scenario. It's an album that just, it's heavy. It's a heavy album, right? And if you, it's one you probably would want to look at the lyrics to while you listen to it. Yep. Not the first time though. Let the music actually hit you. Well. And yeah, like there are some really like light moments, but the majority of the album is quite heavy and deep and dark.
Nice.
So yeah. It's an album that makes you think.
Just the pictures here is just quite.
Yeah.
I know, Sherry.
Yeah.
Have a look. Like even open it up. Have a look at that.
Yeah.
I do understand now. Like I'm understanding Andy a lot more in 6 episodes, right?
The dark music.
No, because when you know Andy, you know him from the Monday Blues.
Yeah.
And a bit like me.
Yeah.
A bit like me. The ranting.
When I look at Rocco, I see me in like 20, 30 years. That's why I think we
kind of get into this rant and people kind of love it. And, we want to see him. But there's another side. There's always another side, And then through his music that he loves and what he's been introducing to me and the conversation, I understand you a lot more.
Yeah.
And now I can understand like what you've described.
Yeah.
What you like what you talk about, and then the music like reflects you.
Yeah. Music's everything.
Yeah.
I'm very music's.
I'm more basic, right?
Like Purple Rain,
right? One of the greatest artists ever, and this is one of his greatest albums.
Terrific album.
A 5-foot bloke.
And a new purchase for your birthday.
Yeah. I went and bought it. I saw it today, so I just purchased this one. I've never had this one here, so. You've probably heard it.
I've got it on vinyl.
Yeah,
so do I.
But these are one of my favourites. I think next week I might have one you haven't got, because every time I got it, he's got a lot of vinyl, so I can't find. I think the first one maybe.
First one I didn't have the Queen.
The Queen one was the other one. But Prince is just a genius.
He is.
He's just a genius. Forget about, talk about a bit. Talk about Kanye.
Okay. Yeah.
He's no different, this bloke.
They're all a bit.
And have you ever heard of his, he was into conspiracy theories, what are those things called? He used to always talk about the bloody, you know, when the planes do the line.
What the chemtrails?
Yeah, he always...
Was he?
He's right into that, saying there's something in that. And then, you know, another artist who bloody died way too early. Even though he was about 50, I think.
That's early.
That's very young.
But when you're considering, like last week I talked about Amy Winehouse, she died at 27. What a waste, you know. So I don't have to give it to you, but
great album. I'll definitely give that another.
Good.
I haven't heard it in a while, so I'll be keen to.
No, it's good. It's good, Lindsay, man. He's a fucking genius, and what I love about him, like, he plays every instrument. He plays like...
What an amazing skill. What a talent. Like, imagine being able to...
That's definitely talented.
You don't see that these days.
No, and this is the...
Not at that level.
No. They might play a few instruments, but not... Like, he was playing it at a high... Every instrument was at a high level. Like, it was in him, you know? And I think it was 1999. Then he played every instrument in that, from the drums to the thing. He played all of it.
So I didn't know that.
Yeah, so there you go.
Amazing.
All right, just a few mentions to Peter. Thanks very much. What's his...
What about the book? You going to do the book?
Favorite. He reckons, who's V-Stra?
V-Stra. Power is my favourite Kanye West song. Power is on that album. It's on the red one.
Nice.
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Yeah.
There is a...
I've got to like learn all the... I don't know all the names.
There is a short, maybe 15-second audio soundbite in that track.
Yeah.
That to me is the most...
Oh, okay, I think I remember.
It's just one part of that song where it is sonic. There's a sonic explosion in my ears when I first heard that. I was like, wow. And it's something so small. So like...
Well, it's amazing. That's what music does, man. Something small, a verse, a line means so much to you.
I've got them all over me, mate. I've got verses all over me, lines all over me.
Having a look at that.
Yeah. He's even got like, that's his favourite.
That's my favourite album. That's my other favourite album, which I'm about to introduce you to as well, Rocco. So
mostly self-taught. Sam,
hey,
one album a week.
One album a week, mate. I'm happy to do a whole music podcast.
Well, we just try to like introduce each other to and the audience to like some different. Sam, 80s and 90s was the best. Well, you're not going to argue with me, mate. I'm telling you. To me, still the 80s is some of the 70s and 80s is still some of the best music. Well, 90s more because I was going out in the 90s, so I love the disco, you know, like a part of it. But I suppose we're all a bit biased because we all grow up in that era, so you kind of like think, but I don't know, so many great... I saw this funny clip, this lady, she was pretending that like it was in like 50 years, she was singing to her kids the songs from 50 years ago, which is now, and it's all this, you know.
Oh, like, I've seen, yeah.
It's funny. She was going about, like, ass and all this, and just singing it, and you're going, imagine, like, in 50 years telling your kids, like, this is what I was listening to. Well, we can go, oh, we listened to, like, the Beatles, you know, like.
Mate, in 50 years' time, I'm going to play my kids Kanye West, Runaway, and just let them cry to bed.
Nah, it's been good, man. It's been a big show. You've enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We've got to give away a book.
Oh, we've got to give away a book. All right. Who are we going to give away a book to?
Who do you reckon? We could go with one of these. Like, you know what I mean? If you want.
That's a good idea. All right, give it to that or...
Whichever. Like.
What about this, that one there?
Which one? That one?
No.
How are you guys choosing?
Did you know that?
Yeah, I know.
All right, let's do that.
Yeah?
Do you see him?
Yeah, I see him a lot.
Or it's probably easier to give it.
I was with him today, yeah.
All right, give it to him.
Morris, you get the book. Thank you for tuning in.
Congratulations.
Your contributions. Morris loves a book, by the way, so I know he will.
Oh, does he? No, it's good. You're going to love it, man. I'm telling you, the book, again, everyone,
Uncle Sam, I'll get you a book too, don't you?
Yeah.
Uncle Sam's, he wants the book.
Oh, does he want a book too?
Hey, my Uncle Sam's going to put it over me now, yeah? Hey, he's the only bloke in the world that can put it over me, and I'll just be like, you know what?
You're saying that he's very close to you.
Yeah, he's my favourite person in the world.
All right, listen, we can get him a book too. We'll get you a book too, Sam. No worries, man. We'll get you a book because you're a great contributor. Actually, tonight's been
it's good.
You know, can I say something? What did you say to me?
I said to you the other day.
Tell me.
I'm like, I love what we're doing with the show. It's all good. I think we just go too long.
We drain it.
He goes, what do you reckon? He goes, oh, that last half an hour maybe. And I go, yeah, look, maybe. All right, you know what
What's
we'll
the
do?
time now?
It's
12:15.
Are you serious?
12:15. Hey, we've still got 30 people watching.
I'm telling you, it's been one of our biggest audiences.
That is,
for weeks.
it has.
For
So,
weeks.
yeah.
But look,
Wait,
I
so
think
you wanted to cut it to what?
2 hours.
11:30? Oh, to 11.
11.
I just thought like a couple
No,
hours.
no, I kind of agreed with him. I thought like if the conversation isn't going,
Yeah.
you stop it.
Yeah.
But then we did also say, we go, but it's hard to cut the conversation. I don't want it to be, I don't want it to go too long, but I don't want it to be where we're restricted. Like I just want to talk.
Just free flow.
And then if it goes, it goes. And like I said to him, like if people want to listen, they listen. If they want to listen to some of it, they listen to some of it. They want to listen to all of it, they listen to all of it. It's up to you, man. Do whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? We're just there, we're talking. And it's been a really good night, man. I'm telling you, it's been our biggest night.
So good.
Appreciate you joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for
Gave
having
us
me.
like a totally different perspective on
100%. And I
glad.
think we'll get you back because I think there's a lot more to talk
There's
about.
always a lot to
you
say.
have to come back. You can.
I think you're going to be a regular.
I think she has to be a
I
regular.
think you're a regular. I think you can be the
We're doing
regular.
it next
Happy
week.
to do that.
Yeah, we'll do that next week. No, we definitely. There's plenty more to talk about, and as I said, it's always good to get like a different perspective.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
On things. No, and it's been good. It's been
Maybe
a
you
good
could
conversation.
ask the viewers topics that they...
Yeah. Well, we've always said that.
we
If you
always
want to
said,
talk about, I think we're going to try to get some more interesting guests on there. Like, there's all sorts of topics I want to talk about. As I said,
Oh, the flat earthers. I'm interested in
the
that.
flat earther is going to come
I've
on
got to
soon.
hear it.
That's another interesting one, you know. And then I've got some other people like we're thinking about. I'll put it out to the people. If there's anyone out there that either's got an interesting story, or you know someone that's in like an industry,
An interesting industry.
anything, a snake catcher. You know what I mean? Something that's out of the blue that we don't know. You know what I mean? Someone fucking
Let us know. Yeah.
I don't know, in politics.
Yeah,
Maybe
I'd
ways
love
that we
to have
can start our education
That's right.
Teachers.
campaigns.
Maybe we've said the stuff we've been saying tonight about is all wrong.
Exactly. Prove us
Tell
wrong.
me.
Come down.
Come down. And tell
Yell
me.
at us.
Yep. No, it's not
Abortion
wrong.
clinic.
No. No, it wasn't wrong.
Get an aborted fetus to come.
I didn't want to say that. I did not want to say that. You said it, man. We can. Have they got the right to come? I don't know.
Kidney.
Not if they need a kidney. Not if they need a kidney. Oh, the kidney thing's going to come back to haunt me.
Yeah, that was like overused.
You don't have a right.
If I said brain, like it doesn't make sense.
You don't have a right to a kidney.
Yeah, you don't have a right to fucking kidney.
Great show, guys.
Nah, it's
Loved
good.
it.
It's fantastic. Thanks for everyone joining.
you.
Next week we'll be back. Make sure, I think it's been better. It's been good because it's starting to get consistently on the Tuesday and that. So we kind of went away because we went on holiday. But all good. Thank you very much. Thank you again, Nadia. You've been a star.
Thank you, and happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Rocco.
Oh, yeah, there's a happy birthday too. Thank you
We'll
very
finish
much.
our bottle now.
21. We'll finish the bottle. I can't see, man.
I do this every week.
Every week.
My eyes are getting bad, man.
He's going to be like, are we off? Are we off?
Are we on? Are we on?
We're gonna do that too. You got to see as soon as I click, I'm sitting there going, "Are we off? We off? Get the gamma. We off? Don't say nothing. Shh. Turn off
You
the
can't
mic."
say that. They'll ban us.
Yeah, I know. No, we're all good. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you next week. Go Blues.
Bye.
Go Blues.
Okay.
Always be ready to survive alone. Some people suddenly change. Today you are important. Tomorrow you are nothing. And that's real life.